America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
We're losing our democracy!
more inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Wake up!
Before we get into how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Liberty Bowl. It is, of course, live stream Friday. I don't know how this fucking intro thing is working today. My computer is running incredibly slow, so bear with me, I suppose. But it is, of course, live stream Friday. As we do on Fridays here, we tend to come together, talk about the latest in news, politics, the fall of Western civilization as we know it, and just hang out. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Liberty Swine. How you doing this week, sir?
Damn fine, brother. What's good? How you?
Yeah, I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling and enjoying the I don't know. I don't know. Enjoying the life that I have in my body right now, because that's about all we got going on. Not very, very much going on this week. A little bit of here's and there's. But we missed last week as well, too. So, I mean, we'll be able to rope in some of the stuff from last week as well. But, of course, we got, the National Guard being deployed across the country in these blue states, course, right after the great success that has been taking place in Washington, D.C. in terms of having the National Guard presence there. We also got Venezuela now seems to be in the crosshairs of the United States. Of course, we talked a couple weeks back about the bounty on Maduro's head going up to $50 million. And, of course, that's escalating a little bit. We'll get our thoughts on that. The Epstein files. Yeah, you know them, you love them. You're still never going to fucking see them, but they're still going to stay in the news and whatever we're talking about for quite some time. Those were, of course, brought back up to light. Of course, a combination of the Democrats and even the Trump administration themselves is never going to let that die. But it's brought back up, and apparently not too many votes on releasing them. We're going to be talking about who voted to release them. And so we also got of course, last week we had the Catholic fucking weirdo tranny person, the weirdo tranny person shooting up the Catholic school in Minneapolis. Of course, very, very tragic. Two young children died. I believe it was something like 14 injured. And it's been like 2 weeks now. I'm probably butchering the details, but either way, of course, the mainstream media tried to cover it up. They even went back and tried to apologize for calling the person by their dead name and for misgendering them. Of course, we want to give respect to the murderer, because we don't want to hurt their feelings or anything like that. But that got completely, insane in the media. It's all everyone was talking about for about a week and a half straight. And so now the conversation has, of course, went on to red flag laws, gun control. And it's, of course, the people on the right as well as the people on the left, because the left are never going to turn away a good chance for gun control, but the people on the right are right on board with it. And it's aimed specifically at trans people and of course people with severe mental disorders of the like. So we'll be talking about that. Geopolitics, all kinds of stuff going on in the world. Trump died, apparently. He claims he didn't die, though. So we have to make that asterisk. He claims that he's not dead. So we'll talk about that. The AFD, though, is dead in a literal sense. Was it like 7 people have died?
Yeah.
The top people. What is their September 14th, I believe I saw was their elections in that local region of Germany where these
not
candidates.
Possible that's a coincidence.
Right. I actually had Chat GPT run the numbers. It's actually a 1 in 293 odds. That's the odds. 1 in 293. So I believe it said it's a 0.0034% chance that could happen. So ultimately, you're saying there's a chance. And it did happen. And so yeah, crazy stuff. We'll be talking about that. crazy ass world we're living in. There's also a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, we could even bring in from last week too. Apparently, we're a socialist nation now. We're investing in fucking companies like Intel. We're allowing 600,000 Chinese to come on over and just go ahead and take advantage of our college system, stuff like that. Rampage Jackson's son tried to kill a fucking guy, like all kinds of stuff we could talk about. But let's go ahead and get started with the deployment of the National Guard. So, what's your thoughts on the use of federal forces to go ahead and I guess bring about law and order in these deep blue hellhole crime ridden cities?
Well, we voted for change, and the detractors sure as hell weren't saying anything when Joe Biden said 25K fucking guardsmen in Washington D.C. for months, right? And the title which Trump is using this under is like a 30-day temporary thing. And in the first week, you saw crime almost immediately drop to nothing. Went from 50 murders this year to there's been one since they kind of hit the street there. And what's crazy is they just announced, what was it, yesterday, that DC, they're suing the Trump administration over the deployment. Just the day after the mayor there, Bowser, came out and was like basically thanking Trump and admitting to the fact that crime's been cut down to nothing, and that she was grateful for the help and the backup basically. And Democrats don't want that, right? I mean, we see that their modus operandi is chaos and poverty, reliance on the government, and I mean that's their voting base. You know what I mean? And victimhood, shit like that. And again, so these people screaming, well, it's an occupation. Says again, where were these people when Joe Biden had 25,000 versus Trump's 10,000 for 30 days and months? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's just clown world shit. No matter what the dude does, regardless of how important or how insignificant, it's it's an absolute existential moment.
Right, especially because we'd like to remind you of this moment here, right? So, Spitfire says, every time I see California governor and mayor of LA screaming about ICE arrests or the National Guard, I think back to when they literally called the Coast Guard to help an arrest on a guy alone on his paddleboard during COVID, right? You guys all remember this one, right? So it's totally fine to use militaristic forces in that sense. When it's coming to enforcing your arbitrary rules, which have now been deemed as actually arbitrary. They've actually come out and admitted that the whole 6 feet thing, we kind of just made that up. I mean, actually, I guess we did have some sort of results that maybe 10 feet would have a thing, but we didn't think people could count to 10 feet. So we said 6. Yeah, that's what they actually fucking said. They actually said that we didn't think that people would be able to measure out 10 feet.
Absolutely ridiculous, man. but I mean, ultimately, I mean, again, like this is one of the things that we voted for, not necessarily deployment of the National Guard, but a turnaround in Democrat policies that has let crime just run rampant across the country for fucking years now.
Right. And then let's see, we got some other videos here real quick. I just want to point out this is what the National Guard's doing over there in DC. Right. So, I mean, they're just out there making a presence. They're not out there fucking, busting heads and shit like that. They're just literally there. Like, that's it. They're not out there, fucking enforcing laws, things like that. I guess maybe in DC they are. But for the most part, I mean, things have calmed down. This is what they're up to nowadays. They're out here, cleaning up the fucking trash. And again, just showing a physical, law enforcement presence out there. That's it. It really kind of makes a fucking difference. It's funny. I was actually watching that movie The Crow last night. Fucking the town in there, man. It's straight up fucking Democrat city. I remember at one point there's the cop and he's talking to the little girl, and it's all late at night. She's out there with her skateboard and he's telling her that, like, there's like people just fucking breaking in and like robbing a store like right next to him. He's just sitting there eating a hot dog and he just tells her like, careful, it's dangerous out there. Like, the fuck is that supposed to mean? You're the police officers. You just crime's going down over there. Like, well, it's dangerous streets out here tonight. Mhm.
I tell you,
Like,
it's supposed to be Detroit, man, and pretty good representation. Like shit goes on all the time, man,
right.
and they're like, we're limited resources and can only do so much, buddy. And that's how they,
Right.
that's how they put it. You're like, what the fuck, man?
Yep. Yep.
Yep, you don't even
Fucking
stop at red lights. Like at night, you drive through red lights, bro. They mean yield because you're gonna get
cruise.
carjacked.
Right. Right. You got to time fucking like, oh, it's yellow light. I better just roll up to that red light. Fucking, you don't want to stop at all. Just
Right.
wait till it turns. Out of there. Yep. Crazy shit, man. Fucking Democrat hellholes. And then of course
Maryland all my
this one we got old fucking Don Lemon. See, so Maryland woman tells Don Lemon she wants the National Guard there, especially after her husband was killed during a carjacking, and her mayor did nothing. The perpetrator was never found. Pray for this strong woman. She needs justice. Right. So Don Lemon obviously isn't getting the answer that he's hoping for right here. Just watch him kind of like walk away at the end of this thing, dude.
I've been a resident of Maryland all my life, so I think it would help some.
Why so?
I'm coming from a family that was broken up. My husband was murdered 2 years ago, and nothing was ever done.
Murder where? At home?
Right out in front of our house.
Sorry.
It was a carjacking gone wrong, and they shot him in his head, killed him instantly. So, but again, our lovely mayor didn't do nothing.
Did they ever find the perpetrator?
Nope.
So you want to see it.
Yes, I want justice.
You want justice. And you would like to see the troops here in the National Guard.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I'm sorry you had that experience.
I've been
He's like,
Take off
whatever. See ya. Right. He's like, get out of here, man. This is not the answer I'm looking for.
Dude,
Right.
it's hilarious,
So,
bro. You go on his page, man, like on Instagram, and he's been hammering out videos on Instagram here recently. And he's got something like 1.7 million subs or some shit, but he's only got like fucking 500 reacts on his videos and stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's obviously not real.
right. Fucking bot farming and shit.
Yeah.
So of course the sentiment is there. Obviously, there's lots of people. I'm pretty sure we're gonna come across some other videos up there with the same sentiment from the locals. But of course, as you pointed out just a little while ago, Muriel Bowser, of course, the mayor of DC, is basically thanked Trump. So what do you think the angle is on that one? Do you think she's trying to more appeal to what she sees the actual voters and stuff like that are actually uh, uh, looking for, or actually benefiting from this? Or do you think that she's actually kind of, do you think that, I don't know, it's kind of a long shot, do you think that she really didn't know that if you just enforce the law that things will be okay? Like, do you really think that she's like, thank you, I never knew that this was possible?
No, I mean, I really think that that's, like I said, Democrat modus operandi. I think that, fucking, chaos and crime and shit like that makes people lean on the government. You know what I mean? We need you. We need help. You know what I mean? It's create a problem, and then, you're the solution, right? And I think that her shit's purely political because it's, the residents are having, a pretty positive, reaction to it for the most part, right? Even the people that are protesting obviously are geriatrics from somewhere else, and so she's got to play that political face. But she also knows that the vast majority of her constituents can't read above like a sixth grade level, so they probably not even aware. In the back end, her attorney general is suing the Trump administration for this exact thing. So it's just a fucking show. You know what I mean?
All right, so you think it's just a show? I don't know. I think there's a whole lot of incompetence and up in there as well too.
But I mean, repeated, incompetence really is malice. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, and I understand being power drunk and especially being addicted to a six-figure paycheck. But at what point, of you working at a particular job, for especially the stretch that she's been around, before you realize you are inept. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe I'm fucking
Right.
flubbing this, especially when this situation, when crime can get cleaned up in a couple of weeks. Like, I wonder if that's ever dawned on her. Like, I'm doing the
Right.
worst fucking job ever, actually.
Well, it goes back. It goes back to the age old thing. I mean, medicine companies don't make money in finding cures. Much in the same way politicians don't get reelected actually solving the issues of their constituents.
Yeah.
They get much more support actually from their constituents by getting them mad and saying that they're going to solve that thing that's getting them mad. They get far more support than if they actually solve the thing that's getting them mad.
The prime example, man, is they controlled the House at the end of the previous Trump administration into the beginning of the Biden administration, and the whole time they were saying Republicans are going to fucking remove the right to abortions, and especially if Trump gets back in office. But yet they sure as fuck didn't try to codify it. You know what I mean? And that's the exact reason they need that rallying cry.
Right.
They're taking
Yep.
away your rights to murder your kids.
Reproductive rights, you guys. They're taking
Yeah.
it. Yep, yeah,
Exactly.
that's their thing is they need that outrage, especially with their base, because their base runs purely off of emotions, right? There's basically the dichotomy between the so-called left and so-called right taking place in the United States right now. Basically, if you're thinking purely off of emotions so much to the point where you can't even see the forest for the trees, you can't even see your own hand in front of your face, to the point where you'd still believe in things like the the bloodbath hoax and things like it's basically all this propaganda that the left has pushed. If you're still out there, just going about it, wholeheartedly, it's because you're driven purely by emotion. You are not capable of actually seeing what's actually taking place right in front of you. So that's why somebody will tell you he's a Nazi, he's a racist, and in your mind, people on TV tell me that he's Nazi and he's racist, and then they show me, sad black people in a neighborhood in Chicago. So obviously that means he's racist, and like they're that's the way that they actually think and comprehend the world around them. Whereas the other people that are more based off of logic, there's no way that if you have any sort of logical uh, faculties within your mind that you have not been able to see that. Yeah, this is, I mean, even fucking Snoop Dogg, even Snoop Dogg was finally just like, man, I didn't come to fucking be part of this shit. Like, I took my grandson to see a movie, the Lightyear movie, and then fucking there's two women on there, and now I have to give this whole fucking explanation as to what it means and all this and that shit. He's like, I didn't sign up for all that shit, and of course the left is attacking him. So I mean, like I say, basically, if people that aren't able to actually see that the left is insane, basically those are the people that are just purely emotionally
insane
led.
as well.
Right, exactly.
J Money 9629, you guys doing a great job. Keep going, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming in, bud.
Thank you. So of course this does raise up the question with, of course, everything going on with Donald Trump's National Guard deployment. Of course, he's saying here in this clip about possibly taking them on into Portland to, of course, with all the anti-ICE protests. It's been going on for fucking 80 days over there. Like, that's insane.
And it doesn't
That
get
is
the
fucking
coverage
nuts.
like in LA. Like you saw those clips and news coverage everywhere, but
Right.
you're not seeing any of this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I haven't seen no videos floating in the inner zones.
Right. They really are. They've become a rogue state at this point. Like pretty much the entire West Coast for this part has basically become rogue states. It's hard. They aren't cooperating with the federal government. It's their you can't get anything in or out of there basically, and they're entirely ideologically locked to the point of detriment. Like I said, their ideology is anti-Trump.
Yeah, and they've corrupted the political system in those states to the point to where like it'll be like 35% Republican and they'll have like maybe 2 seats, or what is it, I think it's Delaware maybe, it's like 50% Republican or 48%, and they have 0 seats. You know what I mean? And that's from gerrymandering and whatnot. But yet they melt down over a single state adjusting to the fact that they've had a massive influx of population. Like, I mean, it's complete clown world at this point, man.
Right. Absolute hypocrisy. Yep. Yeah, and so I guess it does raise the question, with Donald Trump moving in toward Portland. You do have that, the slippery slope fallacy, part of the party that's going to basically say that, oh, this is Donald Trump basically federalizing, or weaponizing the federal government to basically enact law and order in uh, state localities, which is of course against the Constitution, but certain different circumstances may change things in that. So of course, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think he's flirting with disaster here? Do you think he's basically trying to be the Lincoln of our time and just trying to further exert federal power over the states?
I think it's he who saves his country breaks no laws, right?
Yep.
And regardless of any other aspects of the trajectory of the administration to this point, that's one of the few things that I'm 100% behind. Again, this is what you voted for. Quash the fucking the real insurrections across the country, and clean up the joint, kick out all the illegals, cut down the massive influx of fentanyl and so on and so on. And the Democrats continue to show who they really are on a daily basis by the fact that they melt down over the shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like even the strikes on the cartel boat. I mean, you kill 11 obviously fools that are not only in the process but are associated with traffickers and cartels, and they melt down like, how it's civilians. It's like, I mean, what the fuck do you care? You know what I mean? If anything, be thankful. Like, I mean, you're trying to make the place better for everybody, and these fools can't grasp that. That's not what they want. They want California. They want shit on the streets and homeless and drug addicts. Again, that's their biggest constituency base, and
They want something to feel oppressed over.
yeah, yeah, and the
Yep.
geriatrics that the vast majority of these protests consist of across the country are just bored, half senile cats that have hit that age where their brains falling out of their ass, and are willing to sell out their kids, grandkids, and everything so they can act morally superior and hold on to, you know, fucking Social Security in its current form and whatnot.
Right. Yep. I think ultimately what they actually want is, like I said, I don't think there's anything. I think that they've basically become the blob, and the only directive that they're going in is basically just anti-Trump. Right. That's why Donald Trump says that we're going to go in there and we're going to stop the crime and we're going to stop the black on black crime, and all these people are getting killed, and it's lawless out there, and we're going to go in, we're going to send in the National Guard, and we're going to stop that. And what do the Democrats say? The shootings will continue until the federal government stops coming and trying to enforce our law.
Until morale increases, bro.
Right. The shootings will continue until morale increases around here.
Right.
Right.
I mean, how
So,
asinine, dude. Again, they show, their lowbrow, if that's not their actual thinking, if that's just talking points, again, they think they're talking to idiots. Like, it's red state's fault that people in this state are murdering motherfuckers every day. Like 50 shootings over Labor
Indiana's
Day
fault.
weekend. Yeah, in Chicago, it's Indiana's fault. And again, we know that they're going to find a way. Criminals always, right? We just spoke
Right.
on this. Like, gun laws don't work, man. I mean, criminals don't, abide. And
It's been happening
again,
since Genesis chapter 4, man.
yeah, it's one of the strict. It states with one of the strictest gun laws, but you're saying they're going somewhere else to get them. That lets you know that the laws don't fucking work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to actually apply the laws and crack the fuck down, not sit and spend taxpayer money on hair care and vacations for you and your fucking big toe wife, dude.
Right. Yep. So in terms of Donald Trump going in, enforcing the law, I mean, like I say, it's really at this point, as you pointed out, he who saves his country breaks no laws. It's really come down to the point of a legalist mindset versus a moral framework, which is basically what Donald Trump is operating on. Well, meanwhile, the left are purely off of just legalism and down to the letter of the law, and basically any sort of loopholes that we can to just undermine, the Trump administration, just undermine law and order in general. Basically,
A question on that situation though, bro. Like you see, like, the governors, mayors, all these people are melting down in these states where he's even talking about, enforcing law, basically. But and he's saying we're going to go do it regardless, right? Just like in D.C. But at the same time, the Supreme Court's ruled that lower courts can't put forth the national injunctions, but they're ignoring it and they just keep doing it. And Trump fucking abides, dude. Like, you know what I mean? At what
right.
point? I mean, it's almost like you got one nut in a sack, and you can only use it for one thing at a time, bro. Like, dude's other
Well,
nut needs to drop from the stomach. I don't know.
I think you nailed it in the question itself. At what point, right? And
Mhm.
that's a strategic question, not necessarily. And doesn't mean that he's not one of these days just going to go like, no, fuck all your courts, fuck all this shit. We're going in, we're fucking stopping. We're doing this, we're doing that. But it's probably going to be closer to the end of his term. Probably again, as we're seeing, he's doing pretty good in the polls in midterms. We're seeing the redistricting. It seems to be at least on paper working out for the GOP in terms of being able to maintain control of the legislature after midterms, which again, doesn't it's not statistically common, but it could happen, especially with the things that we have going in place, such as again ordering new censuses, mass eviction of non-voters from the voter rolls from the country, and again, just redistricting, all this type of stuff. So maybe again, he'll do that at a further point down the line. So I mean, it really is just, well, when is he going to do it? Well, I think that's an option that's on the table, in the pocket rather than on the table.
Yeah, I mean, even with control of Congress and shit, that's a nothing. Like they're literally doing nothing, man. Like he
Mm-hmm.
actually keeps losing in the Senate because a couple of fucking Republicans vote with the Democrats, and that's all it takes because of the slim majority. And so
Right.
even with control, it's really not happening. The redistricting thus far has only taken place in Texas. No one else has so far, showed the testicular fortitude to run with that. They've just, of course, posted one-liners on the inner
Mm-hmm.
zones and spoke on Fox. But I mean, if that were to really take place, that would completely change the game. But at this point, I still think we're on that limited time scheme. You know what I mean? Because you can't count on the win. And then even if you do win, these people have shown you time and time again that they're not going to do a fucking thing. And you know what I mean? They
Right.
basically passed two things: the Lake and Riley Act, right, and the Big Beautiful Bill. And the Big Beautiful Bill was just massively increasing debt and a lot of shit that you didn't want to hear. And in the meantime, all the shit that was supposed to be in there, as far as removing illegals off of Medicaid and like I said, different tax cuts, shit like that, were either cut out, voted down, whittled or whittled out to the point to where it's a skeleton of what it was supposed to be. And these same fucking lazy REEEviews are running around like, we did it, we won this, you know what I mean? And you only got a few, your Massey's and Rand Paul and Marjorie Taylor Greene that are like, what in the fuck are we doing? And every bill that's put forth to institute restrictions on voting, cutting foreign aid, so on and so forth, has been voted down with the help of the people that control the House that we gave a mandate to. You know what I mean? So it's almost like Trump's all you got at this point. Like, you know what I mean? You got to run at
Right.
full tilt. And thus far, dude, to me, I mean, well, this could be a totally different conversation, but we just spoke on earlier. There's a lot of failures that's being touted as wins, dude. You
Right.
know what I
Well, I
mean?
mean, we still got plenty to get to. I mean, Epstein's coming up here in a little bit. But we'll get into the failures. But how much of a stick do you think that Trump is able to wield? Well, not even necessarily a stick, as much of a cracking a whip when it comes to being able to get some of the people within the legislature in line, especially if he does expand the majority, so it's not so much a slim majority as much as it's a less than slim majority. You know, like maybe.
Obviously, expanding it's going to increase the chances of that happening. But I think with Mike Johnson at the reign to gut this little dude that's brought forth like 23 Democrat bills versus like 4 Republican bills, I think we're going to have a problem there, man. I think that
Right.
that's the weakest link. You know what I'm saying? Because he obviously can't rally to win. I mean, I just
Yeah.
said like everything he either doesn't bring to the floor, fights our own people over, or just outright loses, dude.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, Mike Johnson does seem to be trying to be Trump's lapdog as much as possible. You know, as of course we'll
Yeah,
talk about
he,
here on
he
the
is.
Epstein thing. You know, so I mean, yeah, like, again, we'll have to see how it all goes. But I mean, again, this really is kind of the first iteration of I guess what Trump could actually do with the presidency, you know, as opposed to the first time around. The first term, it seems, of course, as everybody always points out, that Donald Trump was trying to actually just be a decent president. And he was trying to work with both sides. He was trying to do what's best and reasonable for all parties involved. I think Donald Trump has finally had a great realization, and it's of course having implications in terms of policy in the United States. And that realization is that in the media he can never do anything right. So therefore, by that same logic, he can never do anything wrong. Right?
Sure. Yeah, twisted logic, dude. Mental gymnastics, fucking A.
Well, no. I mean, in Trump's mind, like I say,
Right.
anything that he does is going to be spun by the media into the worst possible thing ever. It's going to be red alert, red alert, red alert, and basically the media cries wolf, so much, so
Yep.
much, down to
Existential,
the
dude.
point where
Threat
Donald
to
Trump's,
democracy.
right, where Donald Trump can actually fucking say fuck you. Then we're going to be a threat to democracy. We're going to go in and enforce the law. We're going to go in and uh, make America great again, so to speak. And again, it doesn't matter what he does, whether he does it by federalizing law enforcement. It's everything that he does is going to be, described as the worst possible thing that could ever happen in the history of mankind. So when he actually does things such as, federalizing law enforcement in mild aspects, of course, uh, again, they've cried wolf so much. People aren't paying attention no more. People aren't doing their full on research. On at least on the left hand side, is some on the right hand side as well too, to actually look into every single thing that the left mainstream media goes and says is this is the end. This is the end. The sky is falling. The end is here.
Yep, dude. So he should just fucking napalm Stockton and fucking finish the
That's
wall, man,
that's what I'm trying to
immediately.
say, man.
Right, immediately
The
federalize
question
the entire
is
National Guard.
when. The question is when, man. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, he can, and as you pointed out, he saves his country, breaks no fucking laws. If he pulls it off, and we fucking whip into shape again. There's everything with the country is multifaceted. We have so many issues from again, our massive fucking spending, inflation, things we'll talk about later with tariffs, geopolitical issues, fucking our relationship with Israel. We have so many issues. But I mean, if he's able to get things domestically to where our neighborhoods, our people are safe, to where that we could actually start producing here, that we could actually start doing things, that we could open up factories, that people could start buying homes, and not having to worry about getting fucking robbed every time, or having to step in human feces every time they walk into a business. Like, if we could get stuff like that going again, then I think that we could start to push back in the right direction. But again, like I said, that's all stuff domestic. We still have plenty of stuff going wrong. Low birth rates, collapsing birth rates. We have plenty of issues going on. But again, like I say, if he can wield the power of this federal government to actually turn America around, at least morally, then I think that we could we could have a fight and chance.
Yep. Like I said, I'm, that'd all be great, but I'm like past the point of fucking cheerleading for this administration, bro. I mean, I've just seen, you know, loss after loss, kind of, man. Especially for people that push so hard for the dude. Like, I mean, again, there's a list. I won't even, try to babble them off, bro. But
Mm.
you know,
Yep.
there's,
Well,
it's mega at this point. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, from the rollout to Palantir and the intelligence agencies to, I mean, and you could just keep rolling with it, man.
yep. Yep. Well, let's go ahead and check out this one real quick. Then we'll get into what we're doing on the geopolitical front, as well as somewhat local too. We're going to talk about Venezuela.
I have. I'm not going to say it now, but yeah, I have. We're going to go into another place and straighten it out. And I will say this: I watched today. I didn't know that was continuing to go on, but Portland is unbelievable. What's going on in Portland? The destruction of the city. Well, I'm going to look at it now because I didn't know that was still going on. This has been going on for years. So we'll.
He said this has been going on for years.
Be able to stop. But that was not
He's
on my
not
list.
wrong, man.
But when I watched television last night, this has been going on. You wouldn't be standing if you were the mayor. You would be. Can you imagine?
It's fiery, but mostly
I
peaceful,
I have.
Yep. So it looks like he's going into Portland too. And again, there really is kind of a difference, because of course a lot of this stuff is organized, a lot of this stuff is intentional, and again, like what they're doing over there in Portland, they're over there obstructing, federal law enforcement. They're over there obstructing immigration enforcement. They're over there, essentially firebombing immigration buildings, things like that. They're basically attacking federal law enforcement. So I mean, ultimately, this is a bit out of hand, and this is obviously, as we've said, being funded by people in these left-wing non-governmental organizations, by these Soros types, so on and so forth. So ultimately, this is a little bit different, to where you can rationalize the use of federal law enforcement in order to stomp down things like insurrections, seditions, those types of things,
Yeah, and all these states are, everyone that he's mentioned thus far, they already got the lawsuits ready to go. That's why you see Brandon Johnson's egging on this kind of shit. I mean, he's basically trying to muster civilians to come out and force against the federal government. And I mean, obviously Democrats would love us to get into a fucking civil war here. You know what I mean? At least some serious conflict. But the vast majority of these goons, have only seen things on video, yada yada, and I don't think that they even realize the wrath of some serious armed forces if it came to that. You know what I mean? And
I don't either, but I was gonna say, I do think that there are people getting puffed up on the left that are willing to actually go to that extent, though, based off of the simple fact that this has been ongoing.
There is too. That's what I'm saying.
A decade. Over a fucking decade, this has been going on. There are people definitely willing to actually take. I'm sure that there are fucking cells all over the United States with left-wing militias and things like that are willing to, obviously, as you said, they're going to get fucking stomped, they're going to get the shit stomped out of them. But this has been a radicalization that's been taking place essentially over a generation at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of more than a generation. Like, it's several. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, all the people in charge at this point are fucking dinosaurs, and these are the same people that were involved in demonstrations and shit in the fucking 60s. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
that's who's
Fucking
schooled
hippies.
and groomed these people. You know what I mean? And dude, something's got to happen. I mean, because like again, the last administration. He didn't send people out in force, and that was a loss as far as I'm concerned. That was something that a lot of people were like, "What in the fuck are you doing, dude?" You know what I mean? And like I mean, like I said, this is like a shocker even to Trump. Like, I didn't even know this was still going on. Fuck, neither did I. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like at this point, no one's covering it. It's just like an everyday event there.
There's
And
still the same riots from when you forgot to send them in last time during the BLM. Like these are still the BLM riots. They're been continuing this long.
Yeah, and you got to remember that this is the city where what is it? Is it here or Seattle? But either way, the state, man, you know what I'm saying? Where it's they got a statue of Lenin by the fucking Capitol. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is almost not America at this point. These states.
Right. Yep.
But I mean, they love that shit. I mean, they pray for fucking America's downfall, like everything from economics to COVID to what I mean to this kind of shit. Like with civil wars, is we're going to fight the federal government. I mean, it's just nonstop.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we'll wait and see, man. Fucking there's been plenty of catalysts that have already taken place that could have been the powder keg that fucking started the whole thing off. So you never actually know. It's things are tense, so we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But the left fucking suck. Fucking especially just the West Coast in general, man. But again, I do think that we are seeing the pendulum swing back toward not necessarily again like I say the whole left right dichotomy. It's kind of played out at this point. It's like we say the emotionally driven and the logically driven, and I think that the pendulum swinging back to the logically driven, and again we're starting to build back a bit of an identity in laughing at shit. Like fucking dude, there's fucking all these racist fucking AI memes and shit, dude. They're fucking hilarious, dude. They get millions of fucking views, dude. Like, dude, America is definitely back, baby. Like,
it's definitely the populace though that feels that way because as far as the people that actually run that joint, they're two birds. You know what I mean? Or two wings of the same bird.
Oh yeah,
and it's like one's pushing communist fucking what the hell is it? Cloward Piven type of shit, right? The left, man. And then the right's pushing the Caligari plan. Like we're just going to absorb ourselves into Israel. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you legit, besides a handful of people, I mean, I just sent you that voting record the other day where, MTG put forth that bill to end, foreign aid to Israel to stop funding their weapons programs and whatnot. And it was, I think what was it? 5 people? Two Republicans 6. And 3 Democrats, 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah, two and four Democrats.
I mean, so we're talking 96% of Congress is fucking owned, and both of those wings, communism and the Caligari plan, they're both fucking Jewish in origin.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what else to say about. Do with that information as you will.
All right. Oh, let's talk about Venezuela real quick, man. So, what's your thoughts on Venezuela, man?
I think this is a play for oil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong; it's a communist shithole, but those people continuously vote for socialism. They're like, let's get this fucking socialist dictator out for another socialist dictator. I mean, so.
But then again, when you're in a socialist nation, do you really vote for anything?
I mean, well, we know this shit's fixed. I mean, we've seen this dude's fucking green men going into voting booths and snatching up the fucking the ballot boxes and so on and so on. But again, I mean, the people really have control. I mean, ultimately, there's fucking millions of them, and a handful of people in charge. I mean, that's something that the vast majority seems to always forget. And the people search for that leadership, right, the daddy role or something, so they can abdicate their responsibilities or feel like they're being kept safe. And the just so happens that the tendencies that these people have, as far as voting is concerned, is almost always to their own detriment, whether those votes count or not. They're, just like us, they're in a duopoly, and it's like you vote for socialism or you vote for communism. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, dude, it'd be great to just be like, okay, we're going to go in here and help these cats. You know what I mean? But obviously it doesn't work like that. It's not our country. Who the fuck are we to pull off a regime change? And, the people that live there are going to suffer even worse for the time period it takes to pull off any kind of military bullshit. I mean,
Right.
so I don't know. I think that ultimately we shouldn't have anything to do with it. And I think it's just to keep oil flowing, personally.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you think it's of course got anything to actually do with the whole drug trade thing?
It very well could. But I mean, obviously that's reasoning, and it would be good for the country as far as that's concerned. Again, that's something that we were all about, was let's cut off this fucking fentanyl that's killed 100,000 people. But so that's a good way to go about it. But ultimately, it's just like always with the American government, at least over the past few decades. It boils down to, let's pull off a regime change so we can control the fucking resources. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, what effect do you think that could actually have in terms of the actual drug trade? Do you think that if we were to actually go in and be able to essentially kind of like I say, knock over this what again, like I say, is essentially being called the biggest narco trafficker in the world right now. That's basically the idea that I guess everything's coming through Venezuela, and then Venezuela is kind of the hub that spreads it out through to the cartels in Mexico and so on and so forth, and they get it into the United States, and essentially that the tippity top is Venezuela and Maduro. If that is actually the case, and we actually go in and there and actually stop that, what effect do you think that could have? Because of course that again, at least in terms of securing the homeland and bringing again, these things that are having devastating effects on our communities, such as fentanyl, all the meth, fucking human trafficking, all the stuff that's coming up through these drug routes and stuff like that. I do think that they're actually trying to work on that, which does also show in the fact that we're trying to go after the Mexican cartels right off the border too. And based off of the fact that we've essentially shut down the border and locked that motherfucker up tight, we ultimately are, in a sense, crippling a lot of the drug cartels. So, what effect do you think that it could end up having in the long run in terms of going in and basically affecting regime change in
I, I
Venezuela?
think I think in the long run, it's not going to have shit of an effect. That's what I think. And unless they install someone that's just there to blow America, it's not. I mean, it's going to cause a power vacuum like it always does. I mean, you kill your Pablo Escobar, and then you have your Chavez shortly after there to come on in with his crew and take over. Like, drugs will always flow. I think that the way to deal with the situation is like you just mentioned. The cartels that are on our own border, and then securing our border, like finishing the wall and shit like that. That was supposed to be the plan from jump. You know what I mean? And do like they just did. Like, you know what I mean? You see a ship approaching from those geographic areas to shore in fucking Florida or something. You fucking torpedo that bitch, bro. You know what I'm saying? Wow, fucking heat-seeking
Well,
missile in the
as we
A.
see though, doing that. Well, as we see, doing that results in, countries like Venezuela, people like Maduro, calling this an act of war and things like that, and is trying to threaten the United States back because of this incident right here, where of course,
Right.
as
Well, I
as you
mean,
just
you
point
just
out,
protect your
fucking we
own
see
shit, and if someone wants beef, you give it to them. You know what I mean?
right. That's what I'm trying to say. In terms of the whole like for oil things like that, if as something that we talked about earlier in the week, on text and shit like that, was basically it seems like Donald Trump is taking America into that next step geopolitically, in terms of what used to be fuck around and find out, to where now Donald Trump's just blatant it used to be a veiled threat of, fuck around and find out, to where it's now the blatant fuck around and we're going to blow you up. Fuck around and we're gonna go in there and fucking institute regime change. I'll go fucking sit in the fucking Oval Office. Like Donald Trump's, like I say, blatant with it. And again, something that we were talking about before the show. There's the whole thing that in terms of multipolarism and stuff in the world, that we're basically going to be a multipolar civilizationalist world. Well, basically anybody that's advocating for multipolarism is basically advocating for the fall of the West, basically advocating for the fall of the United States, because essentially the United States and the West is we're the world leaders at this point, de facto or intentionally. That seems to be the case, and I think Donald Trump is trying to step America further into that role, as opposed to backing away from it, which of course is having the effects, as he's basically going into these nations that have really nothing to do with the United States, such as Rwanda and stuff like that, and he's basically negotiating their peace treaties for them, and basically like, okay, you sign it, okay, good deal, everybody fuck off, we're gonna stop talking about this for a while, and again, like I say, it's not, nobody actually thinks that all of these are going to be like bonds that are going to be unbreakable for the next several generations. Nobody's thinking that at all, but ultimately it is like I say, just the stepping into that role of basically world police, but not in the way that we've been doing it before, where it's just we'll subtly come in and just start blowing stuff up, and then we'll be there for the next 20 years and stuff. It's basically, Donald Trump's kind of doing it from the art of the deal standpoint, where he's kind of short, sweet, to the point, like, this is what's going to happen. You do this, otherwise we're going to do that. If you don't do this, watch what happens. We're going to do that. Fucking believe me, we are going to do that. And I think it's I say effective. And again, like I say, that saying does somewhat reign true, that basically, if you're advocating for a multipolar world, you're basically advocating for the fall of Western ruled the world.
I mean, to an extent, I agree, but I definitely think that the concentration should be more on what the fuck we need as a country. Trade and whatnot is always acceptable. I mean, regardless, like I said, if we could trade with Russia, totally cool with that. It's a world power, right? And even negotiations and moderations, you know what I mean? That's all fine and dandy as well. But do I want to fund fucking Ukraine and Israel and do more drone strikes in 8 months than Biden did in 4 years? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? And there's a point to where it's fucking pure waste, and you're fighting other people's battles just fucking on the strength, and doing what makes America stronger. And I see no problem with, like, the continuation of the patrolling of tradeways, for instance. You know what I mean? That's a world police fucking position, but it's something that benefits us directly. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Like the reason, the Marines were founded, right, was to deal with the fucking pirates and shipping lanes. And so, I see no issue with that. But my thing, and even blowing shit up, like the video you just played, that's fine. Blow that shit up. Or like Maduro. I mean, don't get me wrong. I see Venezuela as zero threat. You know what I'm saying? But say, even if they did, like, launch some kind of fucking, explosive, a bomb, whatever, and it hit, Florida or something. All right, well, wipe that bitch off the map, dude. You know what I'm saying? And like, I have no issue with that. I mean, war is a necessary evil, and a strong military is necessary for a strong country. But there's just there comes a certain point where you're like, fuck, man. Like this is the exact opposite of what you said was going to happen. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, to an extent, like I say, in terms of our involvement, other than, of course, monetarily to the same, people that we've been funding for the past, several years, in Israel's case, decades and decades. In terms of our militarily involvement, it really hasn't been very much. And I think
more drone strikes in 8 months than Biden did in 4 years, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's heavy involvement, Doc. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of how you look at it, what side you're on. That's a shit. It's ridiculous, dude. Especially for
Right.
someone that was like, I'm coming in as the fucking peace president. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like,
if you really think about it, though, if the fight is 100% one sided, it's really not much of a war, is it? And like I said, it does seem that seems to be the role that Donald Trump is uh, trying to push America into, is basically kind of the fast and loud. The not necessarily where, well, we'll just we'll have these talks and we'll have these talks, and then meanwhile we'll just let other stuff slide behind the back door, and everybody will collect their money, and war is going to be a racket and this and that type stuff. I don't think Donald Trump's trying to do that anymore. I think Donald Trump, again, like I said, he's stepping into the role that we've been playing, but we've been playing it in a bad and untrustworthy way. To, like I say, war has been a racket. War has basically been how all these fucking powerful elites have made their money, and I think Donald Trump's trying to change it from that to where, again, we're still basically the world's boot, but it's not necessarily for money and for wealth and things like that anymore. It's basically for actually being the world boot, doing things like securing trade around the world, again, things like that. And I think ultimately that's what the rest of the world kind of expected America to be for the longest time. Just we haven't been that for the longest time. Like I say, we've been trying to be that, but in the most untrustworthy way possible.
yeah, I mean, really, it's been that way the whole time. Like, you read Diary of an Economic Hitman, and I mean, he explains it from the late '50s through the '80s. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always been that way, man. That's what
Mm-hmm.
America does, bro, and that's the reason that even though people want our money, they really don't trust us. You know what I mean? Like, even the Saudis, if there was anyone in the Middle East that you'd think would be our greatest allies, it'd be the Saudis, dude.
Right.
We've made them fucking unbelievably rich. You know what I mean? But yet,
Yeah.
and they love to put on a show. They'll be buddy driving Trump around in a golf cart. You know what I mean? But the first chance they get, they'll fund someone to come blow your shit up, man.
And I think a lot of that just plays into the fact that, again, like I say, America has been very, very shaky. Of course, why would they trust us? I wouldn't have any fucking reason to, other countries like Saudi Arabia shouldn't have any reason to trust us. They honestly, if they weren't looking for a backdoor or a contingency plan or an escape plan, I'd think they're fucking idiots. But ultimately, yes, America has been very untrustworthy. And I think what's taken place with Donald Trump, what makes him different in terms of geopolitical relations, is that everybody wants to do trade with the big guy, the good guy. Everybody wants to do trade with the person at the top, and it's the way that you get that in terms of the geopolitical stage is basically when you have the power, wield it in a way that's not like I say, the way that we've been doing it, and wield it for peace, wage peace rather than war. When you have, again, this footing that we have as the United States in terms of geopolitics, we could go either way about it. We could either make war and make lots of money, or we can make peace and we can, again, bring about prosperity. What do we want? Like I say, I think Donald Trump's going for the latter for the first time in United States history.
Like I said, bro, I mean, the track record thus far doesn't say that, man. I mean, I just can't. You know what I mean? I mean, the dude not only the drone strikes, but then he just approved weapon sale or weapon shipments to Ukraine for that can shoot even further into Russia. Just after fucking Zelensky stood up in front of the French Parliament and was basically like, the money from America, we don't look at it as a loan, and we ain't paying back shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and then of course, we've done multiple strikes for Israel directly. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even if you exclude the Iranian shit, like, that was just a couple. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know, man. And then, like I said, even with the trade shit, don't get me wrong, he's worked some deals, obviously, right? I mean, especially like with the EU. I mean, they, after that trade negotiation, they come out blowing him. One of the heads of the EU literally called him daddy. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
then you have, larger trade partners like India, who he's purposely pushing more towards Russia. You know what I mean? As one of the largest up and coming economies.
You want to go sit on the couch, sweetie? Okay.
So, I mean, I just and I keep wanting to do that. I find myself in that rut of, I keep going. Well, it's only been 9 months, but how many times are we going to do that? Man? Pretty soon it's going to be. Well, it's only been 2 years, and we lost control of the house, and fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I personally don't see a turnaround other than the fact that the dude's been in, like you said, some insignificant countries that have no bearing on America, that not even for trade. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're talking dirt poor motherfuckers. Like,
Mhm.
thank God he worked out a deal with Rwanda. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck, man.
Right. Well, I don't think the intent. I don't think the intent is any sense of turnaround. I think the intent is onward. You know.
Right. Like I said, though, I'm just saying, like, I mean, you said yourself, it's insignificant shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, who really gives a fuck about Rwanda, dude? You know what I mean? Like, it just
Right.
like all that whole area geographically of the world, Africa, the Middle East, bro. It's been nonstop the same shit for thousands of years, bro. You know what
Well,
I
again,
mean?
it's not necessarily again, I don't think that he's actually doing it for, like, yay, I brought peace to this. And I think he's doing it so that way he could say, look what I did, I brought peace to this and that. Look what America's doing right now, we're bringing peace here and here. Look what we're doing, you fuck around, we're gonna fucking blow up your bases. Oh, look at that, we could actually do it without fucking even killing a single person. We could just blow up your shit. We could get fucking intel to where we know that nobody's going to be watching it, and we could fucking do it without, taking a single life. Therefore, we have full on support from the international community as well as, for the most part, domestic. Everybody was praising that whole, nuclear Iran strike. But like I say, I think it's like I say, Donald Trump's trying to move our world power in a different direction while still trying to maintain that world power.
With that, I mean, we definitely see it differently, man. For
Yeah.
real. Yeah,
Well, I mean, of
I'm
course,
not gonna budge on that shit.
right. Well, I mean, time will tell. I mean, so I mean, what's the ultimate outcome? What's the end game in the way that you see it? Why is Donald Trump doing it?
I mean, dude, like I said, before we came on, I mean, I feel bamboozled, man. Why is he doing it, bro? Why
I
are they
know that.
fighting to keep fluoride in the water? Why are they fucking bullshitting on the tax cuts? Why, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is there
I
not
know
mass
that's why
deportations?
that's
Like,
what I'm
why?
saying though. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you can't think, if basically, again, you have a bunch of evidence but you don't have any semblance of any sort of motive, there's no purpose for any of this. Like I say, there's zero things about making America great or about making America, the world superpower. So I mean, ultimately, then why, what purpose whatsoever is he doing it? So that way he can, because he likes jacking off, rich, powerful, elite, fucking circumcised penises or something like that? Or
Definitely
why?
to an extent, like, what I'm saying. I mean, it's obvious when he's pushing in fucking not Netanyahu's chair like it's his bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I mean, just
But
fuck,
I mean,
man.
ultimately, that makes zero sense whatsoever. Like I'm saying, obviously that's, in a joking manner, but I mean, again, there's
Why did he just have fucking Palantir fucking attach itself to our intelligence agencies? You know what I'm saying? I
because
mean,
again, that's further control. That's further control for the United States
that's
government. Again, I
that's
understand
mass
that.
fucking
Again,
that's mass fucking spying. That's the largest spy apparatus on the planet. That's facial recognition. That's the fucking storing of all your fucking data. Like, I mean,
right,
on a keel that the United States government never even thought to get to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like,
right.
there's a whole lot
Uh,
of questions that aren't making sense.
and
That's
that,
the
again,
point.
that's
You know
what I
what I
say.
mean?
That actually does make sense, though. Like I say, it makes sense in the terms of, what does he want? What does he net gain from that? Power. He gains, further surveillance. He gains, further ways to actually gain information for our intelligence purposes. Right. Again, that has a plausible explanation. Again, I'm not advocating for it. I still think it's evil. I still think it's bad, but that has a plausible explanation. That's what I'm saying in terms of
But the point of
fucking
that again,
dick beating
what's
for
you just
Israel.
asked? What's the end game? What's the end game of that? You're saying you understand it. The dude's out of office in 4 years. What's that going to be used for? Even if he's this great guy that's not going to use it for nefarious purposes. I mean, dude.
And that I'm not trying to argue. I'm not trying to argue that again. Like I'm saying, I understand what that end game is. I'm talking about specifically in terms of geopolitics in relation to Israel. What is the end game for that? Do you think that he is bought and paid for? Do you think he owes some money? He's fucking old as shit. He knows that he's not going to fucking live
I don't
long
think
enough
he
to
owes
actually.
money.
Like,
I think
again,
that I mean,
then what
you've
is the
seen him kiss him,
motivation
right?
of the
Exactly. It's the fucking the more loyal, the whole MAGA thing is obviously more loyal to fucking Israel. That's why you have all these cats that are attached to him, like Mike Johnson and fucking Lindsey Graham. All of them are over there kissing the wall as well. If we cut off Israel, God's going to cut us off. I mean,
again?
what is the
That's what
point
I
of
think it
all that?
is. That's what I think it is. I think it's fucking Schofield Bible, dispensationalist style of reading the Bible. I think it's basically an ideological, almost religious worldview. I think that that's what it is. And again, like I say, again, I don't read it in that way. I don't view it in that way. I think that the current iteration of the state of Israel is in essence imposters, basically using the name in order to get that sort of connotation. That's what I think. But what I think that the people in power think that are all fucking dick beating for Israel. I don't think that it's because Israel controls them in any sort of sense. I think again they read it in the sense of, as I think fucking old Ted Cruz said it the best. Oh, I read in the Bible that he who blesses Israel will be blessed. I want to be on the side of being blessed. I think it's really that stupid. I really do think that it's that stupid. I don't think it's as deep fucking archives and all this and that type stuff. And like all I don't really think that it's that deep. I think it really is just that that was a big fucking thing for quite some time. The whole Schofield dispensationalist view on the Bible, which is basically that Israel's still the chosen peoples and this and that. I really think that it's really just that ideological framework that's basically nailed into these fucking people's heads because they grew up in that generation. The whole
But
fucking
then
Schofield and shit like
that's
that really
even
started
worse of a
falling off
reason
like in the
to
70s.
that's even worse of a reason to just excuse it. You know what I mean? Because if you can't see past it, like the dude's obviously being used as a tool to further their agenda. Hence the
I agree.
speech laws and fucking, you know what I'm saying? Let's deport fucking foreign students because they talk shit on fucking Israel. Let's investigate Ireland because they're
I,
boycotting Israel. Fucking, you know what I'm saying? It's to further an agenda that has nothing to do with the health of America, man. That's
See, now
MAGA right
that
now, bro.
now that I 100% agree with that. Like I say, I completely fucking agree with. Like, yes, I agree on everything in that sense. But again, like I say, just I don't know, just the whole like it goes deeper than that, and all this and that. I really don't think it goes
It
very
goes
much
deeper
deeper
than
than
that as
that.
far as the Caligari plan. The people that are using him as a tool, it goes deeper for them. You know what I'm saying? I believe Trump's a shallow fuck and have always thought that. You know what I'm saying? And he's letting his own ego blind him to the fact that he's being used as a tool. Right? The bull that was supposed to be loose in the china shop is on a fucking real tight leash. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the people that fucking are attached to him MAGA wise, except for fucking MTG, all of them are willing to sell you the fuck out for Israel, dude. And it goes back to the people that are the vast majority of the people that are in charge are fucking dinosaurs. And like you said, they had shit pounded into their head, and all of them are willing to sell us all out for fucking Israel as well. You know what I mean? Hence the reason, like I just said, you got senators standing up on the floor saying, if we cut Israel's funding, God's going to cut us off. You know what I mean? And again,
Right.
and then on top of that, I don't believe that very many of those people are religious, actually, in any way, shape, or form. Maybe Mike Johnson, because he's a Southerner goon, or maybe even Ted Cruz. There's that possibility, although he sure couldn't, actually tell Tucker where that is in the Bible or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that they just play the game. That's who funds them. You know what I mean? I think that's more of a part of it than any religious aspect, or even cognitive dissonance. I think that's who's signing checks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just like the APAC tracker says, there's only fucking, two fucking congressmen that don't take money from APAC. You know what I mean?
Right.
And APAC has labeled America First anti-Semitic. You know what I'm saying? Christ is King is anti-Semitic. You know what I mean? And they constantly push for censorship on Americans because of even the trans shooting happened at a Catholic school, but all the fucking, the juice boxes came out of the woodwork to tell you how it's actually fucking
Right.
anti-Semitic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's just fucking redundant as fuck. And I don't want to be one of them dudes where it's like all our problems are one groups of people, because I surely don't think that. You know what I mean? But we definitely have a single group of people that has way too much influence in our government, man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I agree.
And Trump, it really is a continuation of that. And this shit is not fun, not good for me to say. I mean, obviously, I was here pumping fucking the whole thing just as hard as anyone, dude. I made hundreds of videos, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like it sucks because I thought I was smarter than that, but obviously not, because I feel like I fucking have been completely bamboozled. I don't think he's orange hatlers or anything fucking stupid like that. I just think he's letting himself be led along.
Yeah, I think that again, the whole you know, Donald Trump's angle is he wants to make America great by making America not necessarily de facto world power, but in name the world power. And I think Israel, as we've talked about way in the past, even back in the day, I think that it's basically a whole power play. I think it's not necessarily again, I think it's in the minds of the support of the people, in the minds of the support of these Christians and stuff like that has grown up with that view on Israel. I think it really is kind of an ideological control power type thing. Again, I think that Israel is basically an imposter state in name only, and I think that basically that they use that for power. And I think that is again part of that power play that Donald Trump doesn't want to get rid of. Because I think if Donald Trump turns his back on Israel in the sense of support in general, I think as you saw with that vote, there's only going to be 6 people that have his back, and 4 of them are Democrats.
Right. Yeah, they're not going to have his back just on a single
Exactly.
aspect.
Right. Exactly.
I mean,
So I think
I fully understand like the political clout and all that kind of shit, but I don't know, man. I guess my idea of MAGA and fucking the political chess game are fucking vastly at odds. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, to me, it's
I
like
agree, man.
to me, America first means like America first.
Right. Like I say, man, that goes back to that everybody wants to fucking to do trade and be on the good side of the fucking big dog in town,
Yeah.
I think that's what he had in mind when he meant, make America great. I think again, looking back to all of our videos and shit like that, it's just like, oh fuck, dude, we had such high hopes in a different direction, like
Yeah.
but I think
Fuck
ultimately that it's basically because when you actually really do look back at it too, we're over here like, it's going to be hard times for a couple years, guys. Like, but we're going to come out on top. I don't think Donald Trump had that same vision. He's like, hard times, nah, it's not in my vocabulary. Like, we're going to go fucking take the rest of the money from everybody else, and we'll pay off our fucking debts. Again, I think he basically has a different vision as to what make America great is. Because again, it really is a sloganeering fucking term. It could mean any fucking thing,
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to side with the America First Party, man. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather vote for a fucking Groiper next time.
Yeah.
For real, I'll vote for Nick Fuentes before I ever vote for a fucking Republican again, dude.
Right. So what do you think in terms of do you think that there's going to be a reshifting, or do you think there's going to be new parties rising up? Because ultimately America is built to be a two-party system. Do you think there's going to be switching of parties? Do you think there's going to be a moment of third party uncertainty. What do you think is going to go on with the future of American politics?
As much as I hate to say it, dude, the duopoly is where we're at. I think third party detracts unless you
Yeah,
have someone that comes out like a bull, like fucking Ross Perot did in the early '90s. But then they can't fold at the end. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Even if you start freaking out, keep it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? But I think that there's not going to be much, man. I think that there's a whole gang of Republicans, especially in the Senate, that tend to vote against Trump whenever they take turns. Like this time, you three do it. You know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
think it's an actual gang up in there. I know gangs, and I think that they want to push it back to the Bush fucking party, and I think Congress is fucking useless do nothings, dude. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
though they have the power of the purse, and it doesn't matter who's in, because even when the Democrats are in, like they just spend time trying to fucking have witch hunts and prosecute their political opponents and fucking have fist in the air ceremonies for fucking drug addicts and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So I mean, it doesn't matter who's in power as far as that's concerned. But I think it's pretty much going to stay the same. I mean, even if someone else really comes in with a third party, like if Elon, he's already backed down from that. But even if he stuck to his guns and funded it, which I don't know if you've seen that article I sent you, where they're talking Tesla, their board wants to award him a $1 trillion fucking pay package. So he could definitely get that done. But I think that it'll just detract from anyone that has a chance of winning from winning. That's what I think. I
Right.
think if it's a right leaning fucking third party, they're going to peel off of any other right wing candidate, and vice versa.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, really, it's all a third party does is means that only a third of the country gets what they want.
All right, like you got to be like Hillary, like Jill Stein ruined the elections. You know what I'm saying? That's also your perfect scapegoat. You know what I mean?
So, what do you think's going to happen in New York, man?
I think
In
that
NYC,
what the fuck is his name, dude? The current mayor, man.
Ma'am Denny. Oh,
No,
the
the
current
current.
one,
Yeah,
Adams,
yeah. I
Eric
think that
Adams.
Adams is going to ensure the communist wins. Okay.
Yeah.
The polling trajectory says that if Adams dropped out, that old fucking rapist Cuomo would beat fucking Mamdani by double digits. But just a few hours ago, Adams did a little press deal where he basically said he's staying in the race, dude. You know what I mean? Like that's what I was saying earlier about no one knows when to relinquish power. Like I understand it's addicting and it corrupts, and that's your paycheck and stuff. But once you get a few million and things start to fall apart, just get the fuck out of the way, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
And stop trying to stay in office until you're dead. Like that shit's ridiculous, bro. That's fucking old as hell. This ain't fucking country at Bernie's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think the communist is going to win. It's horrible to say that, and I think that the anti-communist fucking bills from the '50s that are still valid should be fucking enforced, bro.
All right.
Just like your shirt says, man. I fucking still hate bitch ass commies.
Do you think they're gonna end up getting what they paid for, or do you think it's going to end up turning into Gotham City and shit like that? And then of course something like a Giuliani type thing's going to have to come around to turn it back around. Do you think do you think I don't know, what do you think the possibility is going to be if he does end up turning it into a fucking commie hellhole?
I think that a mayor only has so much power, so hopefully
True.
there's no
True.
outreach. But he's talking free bus lines, which apparently he was involved in a scheme previously, and of course it went over budget and fucking failed. You know what I mean? But he's talking about free buses. Of course, the old grocery stores, right? Which again, we have live action examples in other states where that's been rolled out and has failed every fucking time. So, and of course, the reaction of an overaction, of course, is always going to be right an overreaction. So, for sure, I think that if he wins, he'll fucking destroy everything he touches, and then the reaction will be, a Giuliani or even further, you know, to the right that's just going to come in and fucking crack some skulls.
Right. Temporarily until fucking, I don't know, man. It's obviously the fucking the easy emotional fucking me what I want thing is, you know, the easiest thing that tends to win out in the end because people are fucking stupid. So
Especially in a
ultimately,
city where you pay $3,000 for a closet for rent, man.
right. So I mean, ultimately, people are, you know, it's like, oh yeah, you know, they're gonna fucking get a taste of their own medicine. They're gonna swing back hard to the right for a term or two.
Right.
That's gonna be it. Yeah, that's gonna be it. Someone's gonna come in, clean shit up, and then fucking we have a clean city to fucking shit all over again. Sweet. You know, that's pretty much that's how New York operates, or in these big fucking giant cities like that, you know?
How many times though can you show the people that, like, look, it can be cleaned up with efficiency and, you know, fucking post haste, and then, you know, they, like you said, they come right back in and shit all over the street. How many times has that got to happen before the people are like, fuck, dude, there seems to be a pattern here.
Bible says forever. Bible says that ain't never gonna change now.
But, you
Yep.
know, I mean, something that no
A
one
dog
wants to
that
say is,
vomits up the shit in his stomach will ultimately go back to eat the same shit that he just vomited up. Like, that's the
right.
way that it goes, buddy. Like, no,
Yeah.
they don't learn long term. It's a temporary lesson, and then fucking all of a sudden we go back to the like, let's just do what we want again. Like we got to, like I
Right.
said, let's clean up this fucking city so that way we have a clean city to shit on. You know?
They rely on that though, because, you know, what they don't want to tell you is, you know, the country, you know, whole society as a whole needs pieces of shit, dude. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like that's
Yep.
part of the whole fucking ecosystem. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It sucks, you know, that you have to have that, but there's always going to be a percentage of the populace that's, you know,
But that's why you
completely
need to.
discounted.
That's why shame needs to be not only legal but fucking glorified in societies in order to make them great. You know, that's why you need to be able to fucking. There needs to be, yes, there's always going to be fucking homeless people and, you know, the random degenerates and stuff like that. So that way you're walking down the street, you can point and laugh and like, look at that fucking bum. Like,
Yeah.
all right, kids, come on, see that? Don't be that fucking guy. Look at him. He's got pee on him. Oh man, come on, guys, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
He
Like, yeah,
fucking stinks, man.
right. The fuck.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what kept your wife in the house back in the day, man. You know what I'm saying? Public shame.
Yeah.
Single moms were looked down upon, treated like doo doo, B-rate, dude. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? I mean,
That's
you know,
true.
tainted goods, yo. You know
Yep.
what I
Fucking
mean?
make
It's all
shame
part
great
of the
again.
virtue, right? The
Yep.
virtue of shame.
Yeah, it really is. It's a true thing, you know. I mean, fucking a guiltless society is simply a shameless society.
Constitution was written for high trust society, man. And
Exactly.
fucking, you know, we've definitely moved away from that, you know.
Yep.
Like, there's lucky when we get lucky, right? There's still pockets. I know I'm out here in fucking middle of nowhere, tiny little town in the desert. You know what I'm saying? Pretty good for the most part. About 85%, nothing's gonna get stolen. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know, you live in those fucking hellscapes, and of course, completely different. You know what I mean? Like, I was working in Detroit, bro. Literally, fucking sat a pair of channel locks on the bumper of a truck, dude. We walked to the house, and I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot those channel locks." I ran back, them bitches were gone. That fucking fast, man. You know what I
Right.
mean?
With the quickness, dude.
Yeah.
With the
I've had
quickness.
whole work trucks clean out, dude. Like, just the time it took to eat a chicken pita, bro. You know what I mean? Come out of the
Yep.
restaurant. Fuck, dude. Everything's gone, bro. You know what I mean? That's fuck.
Dude, fucking Tucson's quickly fucking following that dude. Like I watch the local news, you know, every now and, you know, quite often actually here, just to see what's going on, man. And fucking new, like they're over there, like, oh, we're gonna be adopting, you know, some new things that we picked that we learned from watching California. And it's like, why would you adopt anything you learned from watching California do? Like fucking like
Right.
so. Apparently now they're starting to make like tent cities like in the middle of fucking neighborhoods and shit like that, and like people are starting to fucking complain. Apparently I just saw a news report just the other day about some fucking homeless person went and attacked a fucking mother and her kids in the children's museum fucking like little play area out front. Like, like crazy shit. And then the fucking police arrested the guy and released him the same day. They fucking paper cite and released him.
I
Like,
believe it, dude. That's
the fuck is wrong
fucking
with people? They're like,
Democrat City, bro. You know what I mean?
yep, yep,
And just so everyone knows how we're having this debate right now across the political sphere about the National Guard and whatnot. Like well, it's red states is like even Pritzker comes out and says some of the most dangerous cities are in red states. It's not about states; it's about cities. Hence the reason he's sending the National Guard to cities, not to fucking commandeer an entire
right,
state, right? And 10 out of 10 of the most violent cities are fucking Democrat led. 10 out of 10, man.
yep,
You know what I mean?
yep.
And
But
and 9 out of those 10 out of
but
10 are predominantly black.
they're surrounded by large swaths of rural areas.
Right.
Therefore, they're a red state, so that makes them red state crimes.
Right. It just so happens to be a city inside of one of the farming states that provides
Right.
fucking a massive portion of your food. You know what I mean? So it's fuck,
Yep.
dude.
Therefore, it's a red state problem thing. That's what's going on.
Even
People
if
are
he
fucking
mentioned,
insane.
he mentioned Arkansas directly, and that's why he was saying states instead of cities, man. You know what I'm saying? Fuck is that? Ghost
Uh,
politics, dude? Don't know about it, bro.
I have no idea.
But that's
No
why he
idea.
mentioned Arkansas. Oh yeah, me either. Old Pritzker, man. And instead of saying the city, of course, but he was referring obviously to Little Rock, which again, you know what I mean? Democrat led city in a red state, man. Country shit too.
Yeah.
People just gonna keep posting that.
Is he?
I don't know what the fuck, man.
I don't know. At least we got 10 people watching the stream. Cool. Fun times. All right. But all right, man. Let's go ahead and talk about motherfucking Epstein real quick. The Epstein files that weren't, man. What's the latest that's gone down with the Epstein files?
I honestly fucking don't know much beyond. I didn't get to read, shit of them, dude. Except for the fact that, of course, just like previously, a big majority of it, was information that was already known. But apparently there's another portion in there that's, Trump didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? And then, you had Ghislaine though. Remember, she just testified in closed door in front of Congress. And apparently, of course she was saying the same thing. I mean, that just could be a move to try to get a fucking pardon. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately they just keep saying that shit.
Yeah, fucking. I don't know. Like I said, it's weird because I've had the theory that it's basically with the whole Epstein thing, we were never going to get the Epstein files, and so ultimately, I think that Donald Trump was basically just trying to rip off the Band-Aid so that way we could just get this over with real quick, and then everybody just stop talking about this. We move on to other things. But I mean, they keep bringing it on back up. Like it's I don't know. I guess that what was the vote to get them released that just went down that Massey put out?
I mean, they killed it. I mean, it was pretty
Yeah.
lopsided to not release it. But the point is the chicks that have testified, they come out and said they're willing to say names in front of Congress, right? And of course, they're like, no, that would get you sued. But Congress themselves have immunity from any kind of litigation as far as that's concerned. They can say whatever they want on the floor, and so Massey and MTG are both saying we'll read the names on the fucking floor, man. So I mean, you might get some information, but do I think anything's going to come of it? Probably fucking not, dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's going to be one of those fucking JFK things, man.
Know what I wish people would spend some time on is going after
The dude said ghost politics is on the Epstein list. Fuck yeah, dude, hilarious. We were thinking some shit like that right now too, dude. Dude just keeps posting the same fucking.
right.
It's the address, bros.
Right. But fuck, dude, when are we gonna start going after Fauci, man? Like I said, dude,
Not,
this
dude,
whole
he's got immunity. unless Trump, makes
Well,
it
they,
to where they get to fucking, they overturn the whole auto pen, pardoning shit because of one of his, aides basically admitting that she was running the fucking auto pen for months. If they can find a
right.
way to get around that, fuck, dude, you'd hope it comes soon.
All right. Like, yeah, they should start getting to work on that, man. Like I say that I don't think that they're ever going to actually go after these people with the fucking Epstein thing. I mean, maybe, some of the people will get a couple names, put together as we saw the Epstein victims came out and spoke this past week. And, they're saying that they're going to put together their own list of people. But
Right,
again,
that's what I was saying. But Matt Massey and them came out and said you're going to get sued into oblivion, so we'll do
right,
it for
right.
you. You know what I
And,
mean?
and ultimately at the same time, I don't know, without any sort of, again, arrests, court documents, things like that, it's really all just kind of fucking,
To
uh,
put on a show.
right. It's just, let's put out some names and stuff like that. And then everybody's just going to sit there and, oh, maybe this person, it's just the same fucking slow rolled bullshit that we've been getting for years now. For years and years, there's just going to be a whole nother list of fucking question marks and mysteries and shit like that we're never going to actually get to the bottom of. Nobody's going to ever actually face justice, and it's basically just going to be a huge waste of time. In terms of, like I say, uh, with Fauci and shit like that. Like, dude, this is like fresh. Millions of people, according to their fucking numbers and shit, have died because of this. And we've already gone down the rabbit holes a little bit. At least Rand Paul has done a really good job over the past years of going down the rabbit holes of the NIH funding, basically the Wuhan lab funding, things like that. To basically, like I say, if we could get past that whole pardon thing, like we could fucking go after Fauci. We could actually go after something that could actually have some real results in the end.
That fool said, "How much to take your shirt off, bro? What the fuck, man?" These fools, man.
Right,
Absolute clowns in the comments, dude. Good times.
fucking good times, man. This is one of our biggest audiences yet.
Yeah, I don't feel like fucking shit's gonna happen though. I think, like you said, it's gonna be a waste of time and fucking resources. It's to put on a show to placate the political constituency, and that's about as far as it's gonna go, man. Like I said, you might hear some names. The vast majority of them, you're not even gonna know who the fuck they are, dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe old fucking Wexner, dude. You know what I'm saying? That's about it.
Yeah. Yep, and then again, like I say, it's all just gonna, as you said, they're gonna get fucking sued into oblivion, unless it's brought out in some sort of congressional document or something like that.
These
So,
fools,
fucking lazy dude 27 loves little boys apparently.
right? And he told fucking old dude to get back to fucking radio graffiti and shit, and fucking he's roasting cats. He's a comedian. Dude.
Hell yeah. But yeah, fucking ain't nothing coming of it, man. So you want to talk about fucking the trans guns bans real quick?
Sure.
All right, so again, the Catholic school shooting, we all saw what took place with that over the last couple of weeks. Of course, a fucking weirdo tranny by the name of Robert something or another went by the tranny fucking name of Robin something or another, went and shot up a bunch of kids at a Catholic school in Minneapolis. Of course,
The Chinese capitals, apparently.
right. And so that's where they've got protection. They've got fucking protected status and all this and that type of shit. Of course, Tim Walz's state. Of course, that could have been our vice president. Dodged the motherfucking bullet there, but yeah. So ultimately, the angle that we're going with this now is everybody's suddenly super on board with the whole red flag laws, things like that, to the point where they're now even starting to talk about bills involving banning transgenders from being able to own guns. And I'll be right back. I gotta take care of this.
Yeah, and of course, your first reaction to that is what part of the fucking Second Amendment do you not fucking understand, right? Because it surely isn't going to stop at the trannies, man. It may with this administration, but it's going to continue to fester if the other side takes any kind of power again, right? Because that's all they want to do is ban guns. Hence the reason that's their immediate reaction. And but at the same time, I believe the old trannies, that is a fucking certifiable mental illness. And even the founders weren't cool with the mentally ill and the criminally fucking insane having firearms, dude. I mean, there was never any full, regardless of how much we love to be, we're freedoms and liberties. It's never been actual complete freedom without responsibility.
Mhm.
Like, again, the Constitution was written for a high trust society, moral, whatnot, and this ain't it. They're especially fucking the transmissions, but again, that's something that will be used on you in the future. Like just having an opposite political view, like as if you live in the fucking EU. You know what I mean? You're far right's extremists if you don't believe what I believe, and they have to be murdered ounces. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. I guess, and it really just, it's frustrating that the easier thing to get done in terms of getting legislation passed is to ban fucking guns, from certain individuals again, which leads to the whole slippery slope thing and things like that. It's much easier to get that accomplished to basically infringe on the Second Amendment, which is supposedly infringible, rather than, reinstitute asylums, things like that. Ultimately, if these people are mentally deemed a danger to society, don't take away their fucking guns, take away their freedom. Why do we have to fucking implement laws that make it to where that, oh, we can choose to take away guns from people for X, Y, and Z? No, again, if they're a danger to society to the point where they are not capable of not murdering people, then yeah, we should just remove them from society. If this is a dangerous enough mental affliction, they need intensive treatment. And again, like I say, I'm fine with fucking that sort of infringement as opposed to
it's
again,
also part of a.
I was going to say as again to punishing the law abiding and things like that. Again, it's not necessarily punishing the law abiding just yet, but this does open up the door to like, oh well, if you believes this and that as well too, then that's now classified as a mental delusion, so you can't own guns either. Like, oh, we said any sort of mental delusions. Well, if you believe this, you have a mental delusion according to the DSM-5, so therefore we're coming for your guns as well. Like I say, it's not necessarily it's the whole oh, slippery slope. But again, we've seen this time and time again. This is the ultimate end goal of a government that's hungry for power, is fucking strip the guns from the people, from the law abiding.
Yeah, and the opposite of that, was a certain fucking painter was absolutely right about, right? Fucking burn down the libraries. But you gotta change the culture of the longer battle, right? Bring it in, like we just said, that fucking virtuous shame thing, and make it not cool to be a fucking social deviant mutant. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's going to go a lot further, is as well.
Right.
And the ultimate goal really should be Pinochet helicopter tours, but that's a different conversation, of course. You know what I mean? Because, like, again, your shirt says I still hate fucking commies, but
Right.
and that's who's instituted this, and sickened the minds of our fucking children. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the old Frankfurt School that we let infiltrate every aspect of fucking academia in this country, to the point to where they got rainbow flags and they're teaching kids about pronouns in early elementary school and whatnot. And it also it plays into the whole trying to make money over quality of life, right? Everybody's busy fucking working, slaving to get new shit and have nice things. Meanwhile, no one really knew that this was being crammed down their kid's throat, regardless of the Alex Joneses and whoever that would scream in it for years. until the old C-19, right? And then kids were at school, at home, and they got to see a lot of this shit firsthand. And that's obviously when you started being labeled, a terrorist for, domestic terrorist for noticing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But ultimately, again, it plays into that, Cloward Piven Caligari strategies, and we know where those come from, man. I'll tie it right back in. I don't care.
Bringing it right back.
All right, juice box segment.
Again, like I say, if you can ideologically capture a people based off of, like I say, some religious aspect and shit like that, it's a powerful things. So I mean, ultimately, I think this whole infiltration of our education systems, things like that. Again, it's just further designed to embed this ideological framing of the world.
You start talking that griper shit, did you see the fucking views of steady go up, son?
All right. This is how you get by in this game, man.
even dude said on here somewhere they'd fucking talk fucking Jurassic Park, son.
The Jurassics.
Fuck, I never heard that one, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like I say, in terms of trannies with guns, don't lock up the guns. Lock up the trannies. That's what I say. But yeah, like I say, in terms of like I say,
I feel the same way, but at the same time, we already try to keep guns out of the hands of fucking lunatics. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, and again, I'm not like here, like cheering for red flag laws or no shit, right? I mean, that's definitely not what I want. And like I said, I mean, I that my first reaction is always like, what part of the second don't you understand? But then again, when you look back on history, and it's always been that way. You know what I mean? Criminals and mentally ill aren't having it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Amongst other things. I mean, and those aren't the only rights that can be stripped of you in, certain scenarios. And again, it's always been that way.
Right.
So, it's a double edge. I got a mixed, thoughts on it.
And at the same time, I mean, in terms of mentally ill, that's really it's
subjective for sure.
It is subjective, and it is also something that you must voluntarily be diagnosed with. You know what I mean? It's not like we go around and just like start seeking out people like fucking, what do you think when I say this?
Right. Huh? That's what red flag laws are though, right? That's your neighbor fucking telling on you. I think my neighbor's lunatic because you guys had an argument over the fence line or something. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So again,
I know he's got firearm.
Well, then it's just gonna push people to not get diagnosed. You know what I mean? Which again, I'm fine with. We don't need this fucking sort of because diagnosis nowadays isn't necessarily like, oh, this is wrong with you. This is what we need to do to fix it. It's oh, this is what's wrong with you, and you are absolutely totally entitled to think that, and everything that you say is totally right. And if anybody tells you different, we will lock them up. Like that's what fucking mental health and diagnoses have become nowadays, So in terms of people fucking just avoiding, those types of places, like, well, fine, it's fine. We'll go back to a society that learns to, I don't know, do something like suck it up and fucking deal with life,
Exactly. Don't be fucking
I'd be cool with that.
Doing weird shit, cutting your nuts off for social contagion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Again, certifiable fucking mental illness, man, the old dysphoria and whatnot. But not all these people are that. Like it's a smaller percentage of the fucking small percentage that there is of these people. You know what I mean? And I think the rest are just wrapped in, like I said, like a social contagion. They've been programmed again since early elementary school to think that this is cool and it's the thing to do. You know what I mean? You're going to get special treatment and be celebrated, dude. You're going to get a whole month as if you fucking assume the role of somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like.
But ultimately, like I say, in terms of being able to stop people with mental disorders, because of course, what was it? One of the more recent fucking tranny shooters, or what was it the fucking New York City shooter just recently that went up in the buildings and shit like that and shot up people. Yeah, he had a concealed carry permit and shit like that. So I mean, like I say, it's really the people that are mentally ill and in that sort of way, all that they're going to do is just avoid any sort of thing that's going to trip them up in terms of being able to carry out their plans. So I mean, it's really, it's not going to do anything other than introduce legislation that allows us to say, well, if this and that, then you're not allowed to have guns either. Like I say, it's really, it's not going to have any sort of effect in terms of actually keeping the public safe. What's going to keep the public
Yeah.
safe is the public being fucking patrolled and safe. I actually have police officers that aren't afraid to fucking shoot somebody because they're fucking black and fucking swinging around machetes at people. Like, no, shoot that motherfucker. Like, protect society. Like, that's the way that you protect society from fucking psychopaths. Like, or same thing with schools. You like fucking get some armed security. Like, why do we not fucking why do we fucking protect federal buildings and courthouses and things like that, but we can't protect our children?
Yeah.
Why can't we do that? Like, why is that not a thing? The only reason that these types of things are able to happen, as we saw with the trans shooter, is because they're easy fucking targets. It's really, it's as simple as that.
That's one of the things the juice boxes like are putting out right now, that this was all actually an anti-Semitic attack, and the reason that they didn't come to a synagogue is because synagogues have armed guards because of the constant threat that the juice boxes face from the rest of civilization did. You know what I'm saying? And that's what
Right.
makes churches the soft spot. But in reality, the church fucking asked for funding for the school for fucking security, and of course Tim
Right.
Walz turned it down, even though the state had a surplus of
Ignored it.
millions of dollars. Yeah,
Yep.
but he'll
Yep.
grant special fucking privileges and standings for the people that are actually doing the attack, and people love to go, it's not just because they're trying to, like, the last 7 fucking school shooters were all fucking trannies or tranny adjacent. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I mean, this is obviously a fucking mental issue, and
How can we ever stop fucking weirdo fucking pale blue haired fucking scrawny people with guns from shooting kids? I don't know, maybe put somebody in the school that's not so scrawny or mildly fit, with a gun to shoot this fucking scrawny weirdo fucking person with a mental disorder before they kill X amount of kids. Like, that might work. You know what I mean?
yeah, and I haven't heard anything as far as this last dude goes, but every time that there's been one of these, it's always say the line. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was
Right.
on our radar. Like, the FBI was aware of the presence. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
He
always
was
the
in our
same shit.
programs. I mean, on our radar.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, I believe that we know from the previous administration, the shit that they put Trump through, even before that the FBI has been infiltrated, right? Dan Bongino's come out and said that he'll never look at anything the same again from the shit that he's seen in the fucking archives of the FBI. You know what I mean? It's to that
Yeah.
extent, and
I believe
like,
it, man.
yeah. And so, there's obvious reasons to believe that anything that, they put out is fucking, bullshit. And, they still try to shift. I forgot where I was going with that. I'm Blaze.
Right.
I don't know what to say, man.
So in terms of, like I say, the stuff like that, like, let's just touch back on the whole fucking, Dan Bongino. I've seen things that I could never I'm changed forever, basically, based off of this. How much is, again, do you think he's changed in the fact that he's become disillusioned with who America is? Or do you think that he's just learned some shit that's just like, what the fuck? Like,
I think
like
it's a combination.
right. I think so too. So how much of it do you think is, how much secrets do you think is acceptable for a government to have? Because ultimately there are some things that we probably shouldn't fucking just know, like maybe if we were like seconds away from a nuclear strike and fucking James Bond went in there and fucking saved the day within the nick of time, we probably shouldn't be broadcasting that on TV and shit. Like, that'd probably just scare people, like how much just go back to the original question. How much secrecy within a government do you believe is acceptable?
I think only those that would directly affect current fucking national security. I think that shit that's 20 years ago, 40 years ago, obviously longer, it has no business being fucking protected. Like, oh, it's going to affect national security. It won't. I mean, as far as that's concerned, the only thing it's going to affect is the way that the citizens view fucking their government, which,
Right.
distrust of government was what this country was fucking built on. You know what I mean?
But I mean, what if
And
it's like so based off of the time frame thing? If it's something from that long, what if so that mean they're going to come out and like we've got a alien that we've been holding down in the basement for about 70 years now. I don't know how he's still alive. These guys live a very
right,
fucking long time apparently, but
all right, this fool can go years without a drink of water.
right. Do you think do you think that they should let stuff like that out then, or do you think that that's an acceptable thing
Yeah.
that the government should probably keep under wraps?
I think like something like you just
If
said, like we've
if
had them for
there's
70 years or
if
something.
we're
Yeah, I mean,
benefiting from it like long term, like if we're benefiting, like if this guy's actually been supplying us with all of our top secret information, like how
right.
do you think that we have missiles that could fucking track people by their fucking facial recognition and only fucking blow up the people that are like, how do you think we have stuff like that? These guys taught
You're
us how
like
to,
you're like
you know?
this guy's the real reason that we have Star Wars and fucking Space
Right,
Force is because aliens
exactly,
do exist, and we just want to let you guys know. And no, that doesn't disprove fucking God. That just means
right.
God's belt buckle should say "bad motherfucker" on it. I mean, there's a fucking big ass universe out here, dude. You know what
Yep,
I'm saying?
absolutely. Like I said, do you think like things like that should be kept under
I,
wraps? Because again, like I say, the public in terms of understanding things, like I say, they're really a lot more fragile than we really give people credit for. We like to think that like, oh, we could handle it. No, we can't, dude. People are, societies are fucking, dude. Markets are moved based off of fucking words. Like people fucking panic sell all the fucking time based because
right.
somebody said this one time. It's like, dude, like no, the society's pretty fucking fragile in terms of what they can mentally handle, you know?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you see that like with, Trump. I mean, regardless of any, disdain or disgust that I feel for the current fucking administration, like these people have been disturbed and distraught and fucking letting this dude live rent free in their head for years. So, you know what I mean? That's a prime example. But at the same
Right.
time, the vast majority of the population has held it together. Even if they're unhappy with the current political situation, they still go to work every day, do their shit, right? I mean, just like we did through the Biden regimes. And I think that the vast majority of the population, at least in Western countries, well, I can't even say that anymore because fucking, EU's lost. But, at
Right.
least in America and shit, Canada, I think we'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? I think there'd be some commotion about it and everyone will be talking about it and shit. And then just like everything, it'll just wear off. You know what I'm saying? There was a time, when the whole Trump shit was going on, they come out and tried to throw the aliens out. Like, we think aliens are real. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And everyone
For
talked
the
about
last
it for
couple
like a
times, they were
night.
just like, fuck off, dude. Talk about Epstein, asshole.
Yeah, right, right. And,
Get the
and
fucking aliens out of here, man. Talk about
that,
Epstein.
that's sad. I mean, obviously it could just be the obvious, and we're throwing this out to try to distract, right? But at the same time, how sad is fucking our society that you have that possibility, your government telling you like, dude, we think we fucking got aliens on film or something, and you're like, fuck that, talk about the pedophile, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, what the
Right.
fuck? Like, I definitely want to hear more about the aliens, bro. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think I,
But
I do think it's sad that our society is disillusioned in that way, but I think it's more of a reflection on how sad our fucking government is, as opposed to
right.
how sad our society is. To the point that we don't give a fuck about there's extraterrestrial fucking life beyond this planet. Fuck you guys. Like that's how bad our government is. Like we don't fucking care. We want like we're gonna hold your face to the fire until you tell us the fucking truth. I don't give a shit about aliens right now. We are focusing on the like I think that's more of a reflection on our government than on society at large, you know?
I mean, definitely to an extent, like you said, for people that are out here paying attention and shit. You know what I'm saying? But for the people that just jump on, the fucking hot topic of the moment, which is unfortunately, a huge portion of the populace, dude. It's
The plebs.
yeah. I mean, it's a different aspect. You know what I mean? Because even me, like, I'm pissed off, whatever. I want this to change, that to change. But aliens, I'll be like, what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'll
man.
be at work slaving, dude, listening to headphones. I was like, aliens and stop what I'm doing and shit. You know what I mean? But I'm
Right.
one of those dudes. I mean, I watched fucking, Star Trek growing up and all the Ancient Alien episodes, man.
I think a
You
lot of
know?
that also has to do with just how much we've been let down. Like fucking, you say aliens right now, or if the government says aliens right now, you might as well say Epstein files to me. My ears aren't going to perk up that much. Like, I ain't going to be expecting to actually get much more information out of it. Like, I'm pretty much going to assume that you're trying to distract me from something.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's what it usually is for sure. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
not naive, but I'm also not naive. Like,
Still a dreamer, though, man.
philosophically to think that we're the only people in the universe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
it may not be people like we think of it, but you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. It's
Cognitive
this
fucking
is life
beings.
as we know it. This is life as
Yeah,
we know it. I mean, there could be life somewhere else. That's again, there's life in fucking thermal fucking vents deep under the sea. There's
that
life
live
there.
off of fucking sulfur fucking outtakes and whatnot, man.
Right. This is just life as we know it. We're just out here looking for another fucking Goldilocks planet, and I think for the most part, really, really kind of looking for a fucking place to go when the whole place goes up in flames. But ultimately, that's there's still a good possibility that there could be life, not as we are capable of understanding at this present, time.
Yeah,
Out
dude,
there.
something crazy, off topic, but the vast majority of the creatures that have been filmed around, those sulfuric vents are shrimp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, dude, I just read this article today that's saying that a big majority of the shrimp sold in the American market has herpes, and like they were showing like fucking pictures of the size of the raw shrimp and the way it looks when it's cooked and shit. And dude, it's fucking crazy, man. You know what I mean? Some
Fucking
fucked
cold
up
sore on
shit
that.
out here, bro. Yeah.
That's fucking great, man.
Yeah, and they're over there fucking fishing them out of shit waters, you know what I mean? Over off of fucking Asia, man.
Well, I
India
mean,
and whatnot.
it is the cockroach of the sea.
Pretty fucking fire, dude.
Yeah, I ain't
I
gonna lie,
love some
man.
shrimp
I'm
linguine,
not a
doc.
seafood fan, but I'll eat some shrimp.
Right.
I don't like fucking, like too much fish or, anything like that. I've never really tried crab like too much other than like, like packaged artificial stuff. But yeah, as I do, I'll fucking kill some shrimp.
Yeah, I mean, fresh crab, bomb as fuck. Used to do that a lot as a kid, man, family and whatnot. But dude, good can shit, bro. It's like $32 a fucking can, but it's fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make some real good crab cakes with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not turning into a cooking show, man. Moving on, bro.
Right. Right. So, is Trump alive or what? I heard he died, man.
Right. I heard that he posted on fucking Truth that, claiming to be alive, but, from what fucking MSNBC and CNN are out here spouting, he died, dude. Tim Walz, too. Like,
He might be died.
right.
And if he's not
Fuck.
died, don't worry, because one day you could wake up and he's going to be died.
That's when you truly made it, dude. You know what I mean? When it comes up that, the die scare, dude. That only happens
Right.
to fucking superstar.
Yep.
He's dead.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately on Google, dude. First thing, there's already a fact check up immediately, regardless of Interzone's claims.
Do you think that there's been anybody more famous than Donald Trump? Since Hitler, I guess.
Fuck, dude. I mean, maybe the Beatles. Fuck, I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, the dude's definitely. I mean, I'm sure that some fucking outworlder and a 1960 fucking coffee can carburetor fucking scat in the middle of the desert knows who Trump is. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Every
Like, it's
motherfucker on the face of this planet. Like,
yeah,
that maybe some of those like untouched, that one untouched tribe somewhere out in like a fucking
where
island
they'll
somewhere.
murder
Like,
you out and
they
shit.
might, right? They might not have heard of Donald Trump, but guarantee you everybody else has heard of Donald Trump.
Even the
Like,
tribes in fucking like in the jungle in Brazil, because they set
it's fucking
representatives to
insane.
lobby
Yeah,
Washington to stop fucking the forest from being cut down, man.
it's fucking insane, dude. Like,
Right.
like I say, dude. Like, regardless of where he's, I don't know. Do you think Donald Trump's got any creepings in of megalomania?
I mean, I'm sure. He has to, dude. You know what I mean? Most
He's
powerful
manages
dude on
it
the
pretty
planet,
well, man.
billionaire. Yeah. I mean,
Like I said, dude,
I mean,
it's fuck, dude. Like with all the shit that he's fucking been through in terms of attacks on him, his life, his livelihood, fucking his legacy, his reputation, literally every single aspect that is Donald Trump has been attacked at this point. I'm surprised he hasn't gone full blown fucking Stalin and shit. They can just start fucking blasting people's fucking brains out and shit right there in the Oval Office. Like you're like, fuck, dude. Like I say, if he's got any sense of like megalomania, it's fucking mild right now. It's been mild for like
I
dude's
think
cool
he's
as a
just old,
cucumber.
bro. I think he's
That's
old.
true.
He's like, yeah, he's like, fuck it. I mean, the whole scheme of Trump died. I mean, some aspects of that are real. Not the die,
Right.
obviously, but the IV marks on the hand, the fucking swollen ankles, the fucking. I mean, he's old, and
Oh yeah.
the dude's a workhorse. I mean, I'm saying I give him that. I don't think he's got even time to fucking plot and scheme on dictatorship, dude. That fool's fucking, on a
That's why
plane 2-3
fucking
times a day.
the whole 2020, Trump 2028 thing is obviously a fucking joke, to anybody. It's even a joke to Donald Trump. I don't think Donald Trump even believes that he could make it, fucking 8 more years. I'm pretty sure he'll get through these 4 years though. And I think that Donald Trump, again, like I say, wants to leave a legacy. I think that he's trying to not, fucking trip over his own shoelaces straight out the gate. But I think that he is ultimately running a race that is going to have a long lasting fucking legacy in the United States, for generations to come. And I think that, in terms of this, presidential term, like I said, I think he's biding his time, but I think ultimately he's going to fundamentally change the United States as we know it. And I think it's ultimately that it's probably not going to be exactly what we were thinking or hoping for, but ultimately I think in the long run, it's going to be what ends up playing to the best for the United States,
Yeah, but I wanted orange Hattlers, dude.
Right. This ain't the fascism I voted for, but fascism's coming. You know what I mean?
Right. He's just begun to muster the National Guard, bro. It's 5D chess, man.
Right.
It's like the tranny shit. It's to make the libs fight for gun rights in court or abandon the tranny shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I mean, ultimately, dude, that's another thing too, man. Like I say, in terms of gun rights and shit, a lot of the fucking like the fucking bleeding heart weirdo fucking people and shit like that. Yeah, they're for banning guns and shit like that. But I mean, a lot of the actual a lot of the fucking commies like guns, dude. You know what I mean? Like
I sent you right
banning
now.
banning guns is an unpopular issue on both sides, but still, legislation to ban guns gets passed constantly. Even though it's an unpopular issue on both fucking sides of the aisle, it's still like I say, it's not the will of the people; it's the will of the fucking elite. And I think that Donald Trump's trying to change that up, and I think like I say, in terms of how we change that up is going to be through consequences. Make examples of people, and I think, like I say, it's slow coming, but I think Donald Trump is basically aligning his fucking pieces to where he could fucking boom, 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 checkmate and fucking king me, and uno, I think he's, like I say, it's that 40 chess, and I think he's actually lining himself up for, like I say, to fundamentally change the United States as we know it. And I think that what it is it's not the left right fucking dichotomy. It's the fucking the populist versus the fucking permanent political class.
Yeah, I mean, and you hope it can withstand because right. Moving on, dude. Like we're seeing over in fucking Europe, they're the left over there is going further and just murdering everyone out, dude. You know what I'm saying? And that's not saying that's going to happen to old Trumpsicles. I mean, like you said, I believe he's going to make it through these 4 years and fade off into the sunset. You know what I mean? But the future is it's coming quick, and it's it's not going to change. Like if anything, they're going to fucking double and triple down. Like if you think that this era of fucking adversarial fucking politics to the point of fucking violence and destroying 250 years of precedent, like it's they're not done. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Like the commies are always going to push, like you said, to fucking disarm you, to take control of every aspect of your life, and that's when people always scream, "This is fascism!" Like fascism is like the government literally being intertwined in every aspect of your life. And that's
Right.
fascism. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not
Yep.
National Guard troops on the streets of fucking DC. The only federal fucking
It's a
jurisdiction
mild
where that should be allowed.
authoritarianism.
Right.
It's a mild authoritarianism at best, you know. And again,
Yeah.
there comes a time where a country needs it. You know what I mean? I mean, there's been plenty of examples in history where countries have elected fucking dictators to come in, especially like during times of war or invasion and things like that. They will fucking vote for a dictator right a fucking way. Somebody that's going to come in and fucking murder, fucking get all these motherfucking invaders out of our country.
Pinochet.
People will do that, And so, I
Yeah.
mean, ultimately, there does come a time in nations, this time being apparently one of them, in terms of, we have people out here that literally are advocating for the destruction of their own fucking nation that they are currently living in and have no prospects of escaping if the shit does actually hit the fan here. Like there are people actually advocating for that, and it's like, dude, like this is completely unsustainable. Like we're going to completely fucking implode if this continues on without some sort of drastic fucking change taking place. And I think, like I say, in times like that, you need you a dictator to fucking come in and fuck some shit up, and then don't worry, we'll figure it out afterward. We'll fucking overthrow or have a revolution or whatever. But nonetheless, we need to fight off this threat from the inside and from the outside. In terms of illegal immigration invasions and things like that. And so I think ultimately, there comes a time when this isn't the fascism we voted for. Fucking go fucking bust some heads, man.
Exactly. That's what I want to see, man. You know what I mean? And of course, I jest to an extent with the whole helicopter tours, but sometimes those things are needed, man. And for the most, a lot of times in history, you see a quick turnaround as far as the country's concerned for jobs, economics as a whole. You know what I mean? And you can see it several times throughout history, but the powers that be always swoop in to quash that. You know what I mean?
Right. Speaking of the AFD, oh man, dude, that is a fucking insane one, dude. That is fucking insane. All right, so those of you guys that don't know, 7 fucking members, 7 top ranking members of the current leading political party over in Germany have died of natural causes within what is it, like 13 days of each other, something like that. And this is taking place about a week before the elections over in some local province over there in Germany. But yeah, absolutely insane. Obviously, almost statistically impossible. I actually had Grok run the numbers, a couple days ago, and it said that the odds were that it went into a fucking gigantic, math fucking problem. And I was sitting there like, huh? I don't speak math. Like, I'm math illiterate, but it said something around 1 in 293 odds, or 0.00043% chance of that actually taking place, which again, it isn't astronomical. It's not like you have a better chance of that happening than you winning the lottery or something like that. But nonetheless, these are astronomical odds in terms of this taking place, and it completely being innocent, completely being coincidental, absolutely zero foul play whatsoever here. That's fucking ridiculously. And again, with things taking place such as the German intelligence basically slapping the label of right-wing extremist groups on the Alternative for Deutschland party, or the AFD party, which is essentially the Germany's MAGA party. It really raises a whole lot of questions again, because they were allowed to run in this election, and they're killing it in terms of the polls. They are leading in terms of the polls, where if the elections were held at the time of these people dying, they would have won. But of course, just days before, they end up dying of heart attacks, and one was a suicide. Just and their ages did range from, I think it was like 50, 58 or like 62, somewhere around there. The lower 60s up to like 78 or something like that. So I mean, they were old people, so to speak. But I mean, some of them were still rather young, and it's like I say, one or two. Yeah, I get it. Fucking whatever, things happen. But seven, like that is insane. It's not even just the actual candidates; it was the candidates, and then their backup candidate. And it's absolutely nuts. What's your thoughts on old Germany, man? You think they've gone rogue? I guess.
They're going fucking Mexico style, man. You know what I mean? Either like Mexico's President
Right.
Scheinbaum, obviously installed by the cartel because she only won because
She's the only one that survived.
yeah, all the political opponents were murdered out, and we're going to keep seeing that shit. They saw that the jail stints weren't working, right? They did Bolsonaro. They were threatening jailing and debanking of not only the AFD but also like Marie Le Pen, Georgia Maloney. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they keep trying to come up with plots and schemes to use legality. That's obviously not working. It's a fucking sham that people have caught on to. So now they've just moved on to, the old banana fucking republic method of let's just rub everybody out, man. And then, it's not just political, you know, entities. It's also just regular people. They're jailing for just viewing what they deem to be far right material, which is anything fucking, right of Stalin. And you're watching the roots of everything that we stand for, right? The Constitution and shit stems from the Magna Carta. You know what I'm saying? I mean, technologies come from Germany. Yeah, you keep you just keep going with these things, but you're watching them fall in real time. you know
Right. Yeah, it's crazy shit we're going through. What do you think? I don't know, man. There's really not much that could be. I mean, I guess maybe Trump could try and like, oh, well, we ain't gonna do trade with you guys until you guys get your elections together, something like that. But I mean, I was looking up in terms of like NATO and things like that, and yeah, there's NATO fucking ain't gonna do shit, about that. I mean, NATO's gonna fucking support them through and through. NATO's gonna look the other way. We've already seen them do that with places like Hungary and Turkey and shit like that. They fuck up all the time. NATO's like founding documents like that, like that's one of the things that they list is that we are nations that are hold true to democratic principles, and that's what NATO stands for, is for fucking maintaining democratic principles around the world and shit. But then again, you see shit like this and NATO has absolutely zero problem with that. Like, we see that as domestic issues. Like, don't worry about that. Like, we stand for democracy, but you could do whatever you want on the fucking domestic things. Like, what the fuck do you guys actually? It makes zero fucking sense, So I mean, in
because
terms of
democracy is just rhetoric as always. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Just like here, it's around the globe, our democracy means their bureaucracy, and it's
yep.
the same regardless of the entity.
And that's what really, like I say, got me thinking about just the entire fucking NATO involvement in general, dude. It's such a sham in terms of like, oh, we're the good guys in the world. We're protecting freedom and democracy for everybody and shit like that, like, and really, it's no more than a a power play. It's no more than just a military alliance. That's it, and its sole purpose is for power. It's not anything to do with morality or principles or how nations should be and how freedom, is maintained and survives and shit like that. It's purely pragmatism for the sake of power. That's all that it is. It's political alliances because they make the most sense. And it doesn't matter if you actually violate these principles that we say in our fucking founding, documents and papers and shit like that, is our core beliefs. It doesn't matter if you violate those in the most egregious ways possible. We're going to keep you on because it's militarily pragmatic to maintain these alliances.
As far as that's concerned, like if you cut it down to, the original fucking, thought process with the whole, no political entanglements, but trade with all. I mean, it
Mhm.
almost shouldn't matter the way that they run their country. You know what I mean? As long as they don't try to fuck with you or they don't do you dirty, as far as, your transactions. Fuck, do what you want. You know what I'm saying? It's your country. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, if it's spilling into other countries or some shit like that, fuck, get involved. But even the times we do get involved, it's the same. It's only what's pragmatic, like you're just saying. Like, I mean, China does, major fucking human rights abuses on a daily basis. I mean, they're genociding out weaker Muslims. And again, fuck the Muslims, right? But still, I mean, that's something that we're supposed to be, we stand for this. You know what I mean? We got to go help people, but we're not doing shit. The same thing with Israel. But yet in other countries that are much weaker or fucking pose no threat to us geopolitically or economically, we're like, oh, they're being mean to their own peoples. We got to get in there and fucking destroy everything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like again, I mean, I guess if you're gonna fucking be the police of the world and get involved in some shit, sure, that would be a reason to. But ultimately, fucking, I would rather just see like trade, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that's something that keeps us from trading with Russia. One of the fucking top three economies, right? But yet, we don't trade, we don't do shit trade with them, but unless there's a third party involved where you're going to get taxed because Putin's a dictator. You know what I mean? But yet, until recently, we were buying oil from Venezuela. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's been
Right.
under dictators for fucking years and years. The same in the Middle East, the Saudis. I mean, the Saudi royal family does what they want, kills who they want, and we're still like fucking buy billions of barrels from you, Bobby.
That's what I say, man. I think it's all just pragmatism for the sake of power, and I think that Donald Trump is being overt with that. Where we used to try and put it through a veil of we're just principled people that we just love freedom,
Mm.
and the rest of the world they're just fighting with us because they hate how free we. I think Donald Trump is trying to remove that veil. They're not necessarily trying to, but even if he's not trying to, that's essentially the effect that he's sort of having, that he's basically exposing. And it's really, like I say, it's pragmatism for the sake of power in terms of our geopolitical alliances, things like that, and in terms of our the things that we do domestically. And so I think, like I say, he's trying to. Like I said, I don't know if he's trying to or not, but ultimately, we're just having the effect of he's either removing that veil of we're just the good guys trying to bring freedom to the rest of the world. I think he's trying to remove that, and he's trying to like, no, we're the guys that have fucking power, and we're not going to let anybody else fucking take that power or threaten that power from us. And we're gonna be the guys that protect trade. We're going to focus on trade. We're going to trade with everybody. There's going to be trade all around, and we're going to make sure that we get ours through things like tariffs. Again, like we're seeing, he's renegotiating trade deals on a global scale for the United States in terms of the rest of the world. So I mean, like I say, I think he's trying to bring that about. He's trying to get rid of the veil of principles and all that type of shit, and just telling, like, hey, it is what it is. If I can, this is what we do. Like the internet, it makes it to where the people lose trust in the government because of the fact that we're just constantly like, oh, look at this, don't
Mhm.
mind what we're doing back here. Donald Trump's like, all right, look, this is what we're doing back here. Okay, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this and this is what's gonna happen. I think like I say, he's
That's a
with
distraction too, though. Why are you saying that? They're letting pedophiles flee to Israel.
yeah, that's true. Like I say, in terms of the whole Israel thing, like I said, I think it's like I say, we went into the whole thing, but in terms of that guy and shit like that, I don't necessarily know with all that. Again, I think it's the whole just the it's the powerful elite. Like I say, Donald Trump, he's not necessarily principled in the way that people like to think he is. He's like this moral,
Right.
virtuous person. If it's something that, like I say, he's pragmatic for the sake of power. And I think that's basically what that is.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't want to get back into that. I voted for, America first, but you
Right.
know.
Yep. But yeah, I think ultimately, like I say, we have a view of the world that like I say, it really is kind of idealist. You know what I mean? Like it really is kind of it's I guess it would be nice to be able to just sit back and do trade with all that. But I mean, ultimately, like I say, it's not necessarily what it is. Ultimately, somebody needs to be the person that's over there cracking the whip. You know, at least in terms of how we sit geopolitically right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, dude. I mean, the vast majority of what he's doing is about trade. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The tariffs, all that kind of shit. And even the Iran stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? I mean, they obviously targeted fucking nuclear plants and shit like that. But at the same time, I think that's to keep them defenseless and to not undercut fucking oil prices, man.
yeah, yeah.
You
So
know, they're
what do you think?
super oil rich.
Yeah, like what do you think's the whole thing with Trump and Intel, the manufacturer, the microchips and shit like that?
That's
With
obviously what it's about, man. Is the chip game. It's trying to fucking keep headway with China, and
well, I
to
understand that, but I mean, in terms of like, say, we have other ways of going about it. At least we have for some time through things like subsidies and whatnot. But like I say, this is basically just like an outright 10% stake investment
right,
on behalf
ridiculous
of the
shit.
United States. You know, like I say, it is obviously more a smarter thing to do to to buy a stake rather than just print fucking money and here you go on behalf of the taxpayer. So I mean, like I say, I do agree with that, but do you think again that's moving moving us at least domestically in a dangerous direction possibly?
Absolutely. I mean, we know what that kind of shit leads to, right? I mean, the bad kind of fascisms.
Right.
And I mean, so you don't want to see that. It is smart as far as rather than just giving taxpayer monies away, it's expecting a return on your investment, right? But at the same token, I mean, I don't know shit, right? I'm not a fucking, a chip assembler. I'm not, supercomputer fucking intellectual, right? But from what I understand, Intel's actually kind of a subpar chip maker. So there's that question as well. But it's the only thing I can think is trying to move away from the dependence on Taiwan because
Right.
eventually I think that he believes
Well, that
eventually China's going to take Taiwan.
I mean, ultimately, that's a really important thing. Like say, if we don't want to spread ourselves too thin, at least militarily or even economically, depending on how we do it, because that seems to be our thing is proxy wars. Whenever China does try and go after Taiwan, I mean, that's going to be the smartest thing to do. Is probably just like, sorry, buddy, we kind of got our own stuff here now. Like we make it ourselves. Like, good luck.
Right. I don't even want us in the UN, dude. Like even you were talking about NATO. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Right.
don't want to be handicapped by a treaty with another country that we have to come waste American lives on behalf of you. You know what I'm
And it
saying? That's
ultimately it ultimately is true that I mean fucking if you fucking don't want to invest heavily into tech, you're gonna miss out on the fucking future. You're gonna miss out. Your nation's gonna miss out. Fucking if you don't have the technology, you're gonna get left behind. Because I mean, really, that's the fucking what is it? The fourth or fifth industrial revolution is fucking the technological. The artificial intelligence, things like that. If you don't have that you're gonna end up falling behind. So I think it is, ultimately kind of strategic as well too, in terms of like, fuck it, dude. Like we need our own government fucking uh run, technological advancement department and shit in order to keep us fucking on track and at the height of technological power in the world.
dude, I definitely agree with what you're saying. It's fucking keeping up with the Joneses. If you
Mm,
don't have the spot, somebody else will, and that somebody's probably going to be fucking China. You know what I mean?
Shanna.
And yeah, the real strategic threat in the fucking globe, not all this other bullshit we're fucking involved in, right? And so you obviously have to fucking keep up with that, and it's unfortunate because I mean, for the vast majority of us, dude, we don't want AI and a Palantir in our lives, fucking in every aspect, watching you through your phone, your TV, whatever. You know what I mean? But like you said, it's also a requisite that we don't let our actual fucking, geopolitical enemy rise to the heights that supposedly AI is going to take civilization to. You know what I'm saying? It's a fucking rough one. It's like double edge.
Right. Yep. But shit, we'll have to see how it goes, man. It's definitely crazy times we be living in. But like I say, I think, like I say, Donald Trump, he's definitely done some shit that's been rubbing me the wrong way. He's definitely not the fucking president that I was hoping he was going to be. But ultimately, I do think that he's effective, and I think in terms of where America's at, I think he's kind of the president that we need at this point in time.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, there's some things that obviously we're probably going to disagree on, but like I just wish he'd fucking swing his nuts around like he was pre shot in the air. You know what I'm saying? And like that's really what I want to see. I want him to shirk off these fucking circuit judges and shit. These federal circuit judges that are going against the Supreme Court's ruling. And I don't know if you've seen, but even Gorsuch and Kavanaugh sent a letter. Basically, a memo out to all these lower courts, basically saying you're free to question our decisions, but you are not free to defy them, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's cats
Right.
need to get smacked back in place. And I
Right.
think the only way to do that is, hold on to that judgment and those words and just move forward. Like you fucking said, you're going to. Like we're on limited time here, man. I mean,
Yep.
like you said, the polls might say one thing, but the polls said Kamala was going to be president. The polls said Hillary was going to be president. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so, love to
We're
see that,
we're we're in the age of propaganda, man. You really can't fucking believe anything, especially
right.
in terms of polls, especially because
Yeah.
the polls, the pollsters themselves are compromised in many cases, and then at the same time, you have so many different fucking results that it's to get an average, it's basically somewhere between, I don't know, like a -5 or +7, somewhere in between there, like that's
Right.
the range of poll results that we have right now for every fucking issue out there.
Yeah, you're like, that's a huge swing. That's a win or a loss, man. Like you're not saying
Right.
anything. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. So yeah, like I say, we're in the age of fucking propaganda, like big time in the United States right now. So it's really, like I say, it's everything's a toss up, in terms of how we're going. But like I say, I think ultimately we're making some positive changes, at least in terms of how we're doing things, in terms of like elections. We're trying to work on cleaning. Yeah, like I say, Donald Trump really he's doing a lot of things on a lot of fronts, and I think, like I say, it's something that would be overwhelming to the point where fucking any of us would just start fucking popping motherfuckers' brains out in the Oval Office, like fuck it, fuck it, you know. I think ultimately, like I say, he's handling it pretty well. I think he's drastically pushing us into a better place, uh, you know, at least domestically, if not
And that's
geopolitically as well.
that's a good example too about trying to clean up the voter rolls, the census, and whatnot. And the prime example of the fact that Democrats don't give two shits about the will of the people. The fact that they're melting down, like he's going to send ICE to the voting polls to stifle voting, and that tells you that they want illegals to fucking be voting. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. And like I say, it's just they're fucking blatantly, like I say, they're blatant about doing things that are just bad for the country, and there's obviously bad for the country. They're not even like they have to sit there and try and make up weird fucking scenarios in these one-off situations and shit. Basically, like I say, their whole thing is they argue for the fucking 1%. They argue for the 1%, and so that's why everything that they do is catered to fucking just destroy, you know, and
No,
their
absolutely.
ideology is just anti-Trump. That's whatever it is. Their ideology is the orange man bad, So orange man says, fucking we're gonna clean up these streets and we're gonna keep people safe. And the Democrats, like we said earlier, say that fucking the shootings will continue until morale improves. Uh, yeah. So
But
like I
how
say, it's
dumb do they think people are, though? He's going to stifle voting by having ICE at the poll, at the fucking voting polls. Like, dude, you know what I mean? Because I mean, you see these leftists are out here hitting these fools with rocks and trying to firebomb the joints, but
right.
they're going to be scared to come vote if they're standing there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, no, that doesn't work, dude. Like an
I don't
American
think
with
you're
an
allowed to
ID
vote
is
wearing a mask.
right. right?
What do
But
you what do you think of the idea of not being able to, if you're at a public protest, you're not allowed to fucking hide your face. Basically, you're not allowed to fucking be out there in black bloc and all this and that type shit. Like, what do you think of that? It's not necessarily stifling your free speech or anything like that. Ultimately, we have free speech. You're not going to get penalized for your speech, but ultimately you should probably have to fucking actually get up there and show that you actually believe in this and show that you to show who you are and say that you believe in this. I mean, if you're going to be out there, trying to stand up for what you believe in, you should need to show yourself. Otherwise, you're just trying to be out there to agitate.
Dude, I agree with you about 80% on that, dude. You know what I'm saying? For the simple fact that we live in an age now where everybody tries to dox everyone else and shit. You know what I mean? You
Right.
see these cats on here posting fucking addresses on this bitch, and it could be just, just complete horse shit. But the point is like fools do that kind of stuff all the time. You know what
Right.
I mean? So that's the only drawback to that. It's the same reason that I support ICE and the police being able to fucking wear masks when they're doing large raids and shit like that. Because you're showing their face, you're putting their fucking family in danger and stuff, man. It's not
Well,
even
that's why I
necessarily
say
them.
they're not. If you're doing it in the name of the law, you're doing it as a job. You're not doing that because I want to be out there and I mean, obviously you want to be out there, but I want to go to house 17B on 13th Street and I want to stop the crime going on. Like, no, you are assigned to there. Like you were, ordered to go there. But in terms of these protests and shit like that, you're doing that voluntarily. That's all on your own time and shit like that. Like I could understand, like I say, in terms of policing and shit like that in the line of duty. Like fuck yeah, like yes, you should be able to fucking hide your identity and shit like that, especially with if it's something that's like I say, gonna receive a lot of death threats, things like that. A lot of hate from the people that you're going after. So yeah, I'm totally on board with that. But like I say, in terms of going out to like protests and shit like that, that's on your own time. That's voluntarily. Ain't nobody got a gun to your head, or ain't nobody gonna take away your paycheck if you don't get out there and go fucking speak your minds and shit.
But I mean, I understand it's your own time and whatnot, but that's part of a free society, right? Is protest, hence the reason of fucking the First Amendment. But I think that, like I said, it's more of just a political doxing thing. It's not even necessarily like you're breaking the law, you're going to get in trouble. We identified you. It's literally people that are on the opposite political spectrum of you will just take pictures and video just to try to fucking make threats and shit like that. I mean, fuck, I've had people message me on fucking, Twitter and shit, like Antifa, like we're going to come get your family and all this kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And, and I'm fucking nobody, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even out there on the street, right? And so, it is their choice. And you'd hope that if they're actually speaking, like they have the podium or something, the mask would, voluntarily be off. I mean, I wouldn't even stand there and listen to someone in a fucking mask. But as far as just being out there, like in force and numbers, like you're out there part of the protest, you're not the speaker. I mean, to me, it's all right because I mean, you will get fired. You know what I'm saying? All it takes is for your leftist boss, or to see you, or for your boss to be kowtowed by Antifa hitting them up, and they'll fire you. You know what I mean? For sure.
Right. I think the issue is that when it comes to free speech, when it comes to free speech and protest, we the line is very, very blurred or broad in terms of what is a riot and what is a protest, at least in the modern context. So in terms of, like I say, in order to, like I say, everyone could have free speech and shit like that, but in terms of um like I say, going out there to protest, you're out there trying to stand up for what you believe in and shit like that. It should be peaceful. Like there should not be any
Yeah.
sort of fear of like, oh, me being out here, I might get in trouble and shit like that because I'm out here advocating for the fucking the overthrowing of our nation and shit. I'm advocating for the release of MS-13 members into our fucking streets and shit like that. Like, it's you shouldn't. I guess it shouldn't get to that point where you're out here, like I say, openly advocating for the fucking downfall of your local community and your fucking nation at large. And if it
But I
does, like I
mean, you
say,
could be
it's
protesting abortion and they're going to dox you, doc. You know what I'm saying? They try to get you charged with the FACE Act and stuff. You know what I mean? And all you're doing is like, don't kill babies. God loves
right.
you. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I say. I mean, there should be no legal penalties that they could go after you when it comes to that. I mean, really, it should be social, if anything. Like, yeah, if people are gonna dox you, like, fuck, sorry, man, that's the price you pay. If you believe in something that bad, you should probably, understand that people are gonna try and hate you for it. And like I say, if fuck, dude, if you're not a front linesman, don't stay on the front lines. Like I say, that I'm not a fucking front linesman. You ain't gonna catch me out at any fucking protests and shit like that. Um, but I mean, like I say, in terms of like this show, you could see our faces right now.
Right, but
When
I
it
don't
comes,
give a fuck though. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
yeah, like I say, that's the a likewise feeling. But like I say, and in terms of free speech, like you if I did give a fuck, and it was something that I was die hard for, and I think that this if I'm out here trying to stand up for what I believe in, and if I can covering a mask, what I believe in is probably nefarious at best. um and so in which case, like I say, in terms of stand up for what you believe in and shit. That you stand up for what you believe in. Don't just be out here, fucking agitating and just trying to be a faceless, fucking fist in the crowd, basically.
I mean, yeah, ideally. But again, we live in a society where people will fuck your shit up for the dumbest reasons, dog. And I don't think that, like you just said, it shouldn't be like that. But unfortunately, it is. You know what I mean? And law aside, all that shit. Like, I don't think, grandma's middle-aged cats should be fucking worried about their home or their grandkids because they went out to speak for their belief and whatever the case is. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like you said, I mean, if I was to go out there, I'm not, right? But I would be just like you're saying. I give a fuck. I go out there just like I am. I stand by what I believe, and I'm not afraid to face the repercussions of it. But unfortunately, not all people are like that. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be in the position we're currently in. You know what I'm
But
saying?
at the
But I
same
do
time,
understand what you're saying about that's Antifa shit. That's like their
mhm,
calling, dude. You know what I'm saying? Their card, they fucking mask, goon, and a hoodie. You know what I mean?
right.
So, and I
It
do
really is
understand, especially.
one-sided. It's a completely one-sided thing. Like I say, fucking if any of these fucking leftist Antifa people are out there, with their faces out and shit like that, yeah, obviously if they're fucking causing a disruption, if they're being violent, setting shit on fire, they're probably gonna get arrested for arson, things like that. But in terms of us, we ain't gonna fucking go hunt them down. Like that's not our fucking MO and shit. That's not our necessarily our side. In terms of people being doxxed on our side, a lot of these people at the fucking abortion rallies and shit like that, they go unmasked voluntarily. Like we rarely, if ever, see a fucking mask among the face of the right wing protests. It's like I say, purely a one sided thing. And like I say, in terms of the Democrats versus Republicans, it's not necessarily these guys fucking like apples and these guys like bananas. It really is at the point of good versus evil. These people want
Yeah,
fucking
it is.
destruction. We want to save our country.
Yeah, I mean, ideological shit. I mean, I'm so sick of shit being banned. You know what I mean? Like we were just saying about guns for trannies. Like it's always the
Right.
first thing people want to go to. Like, let's limit your ability to do something that we don't like. And it's not even the slippery slope thing. It's just a non-stop fucking march of infractions. You know what I mean? And so
Yep.
while I agree, I mean, fuck, I'd almost rather just see heads get cracked. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't deter them
Well,
by
I mean,
removing the mask. Deter
that's
them
in
by putting
addition
some
to it.
brains on the street.
Right. Like I say, that's in addition to it. You know what I mean? So what do
Yeah.
you think then? What do you think then about like riot police and things like that when they go into these places and they get these Antifa people instantly pull off their masks? Like if we're
Yeah.
apprehending someone, if we're marking somebody, just fucking go into the middle of the crowd and if people are pushing on you, just start pulling masks down. Just go
Yeah.
start pulling
They're
like I
gonna
say,
be
as
covering and
as
running and shit.
as a direct order from their superiors and shit like that. Like, do you agree with that then?
Yeah, fully.
All right.
Fully, man. Like, fuck it. I mean, plaster their faces even. You know what I'm saying? Like, not only pull the mask down and fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, pictures posted everywhere, like the shame virtue thing. I mean, show the action where the fucking police were forced to defend themselves and beat the fuck out of some kids. Who cares if grandmas and fucking, blitzes and leftists get fucking squeamish? I mean, time to harden up a little bit, dude, right? Because the
Right.
softness has definitely brought us to hard times, man. And I think that
Absolutely.
we're coming to a crossroads, right? And I hope that Trump is going to be the figure that he ends up being what at least half of what we hoped, right? But ultimately, I believe that after him, it's going to be a rough ride, and there's not really even the face. Even though people like to say JD Vance, I don't know. Anything I'm thinking aside, right? Personally, I just don't know if he's got that fucking that aura about him that's gonna get him up to the presidential level. But I mean, they did it with a fucking carcass, so who knows? But
Right.
I think it's at a crossroads, man. I think it either gets carried on at least to an extent, or we fucking go down in flames, whether that's through conflict or just economic fucking woes.
Right. Yep, and that's why I say, man, I think Donald Trump's his prime motivation in everything that he does is trying to right the ship in terms of the land that he knows and loves and has been a part of his entire life, and part of his, he's trying to right the ship of his nation,
Like I
I
said,
think
dude,
that's
I
his
mean,
prime
obviously
motivation.
that interest aligns with all of us. Like, people, you think a billionaire cares about you? That's what I've said since jump. Like, absolutely not. I think that his fucking interest is going to benefit me. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, increasing fucking, America's wealth is good for everybody, regardless of the goons that like to melt down and, rather sell their fucking country out because bad man's fucking Hatler's is.
Yep. Yep. Like I say, it's just we just have a different vision than what Trump has, Like I say, like I say, looking back in our old videos, we're always like, all right, guys, brace yourself. It's gonna be a couple of hard years, man. We're gonna tighten up the budget, fucking everything good. It's gonna be rough, you guys, but we're gonna get through it, and hopefully, we're gonna be better for it. Like those are our old videos and shit. Like I say, obviously, that's fixing the economy, things like that is still Trump's uh, directive, but I say you just have vastly different visions. Donald Trump's like, yeah, I don't want to do any of the hardship stuff. How about we just go fucking knock over these fucking couple of heads and shit here and there, and call it a day. Make some new trade deals, and we'll make some money.
And it actually, even with the tariffs, it still brought your costs down. I mean, there's still things that are outrageous. I mean, it's always like that. Once prices go up, they rarely ever come down. And if they do, it takes, an extended period for sure. Right. But
All right.
life has gotten cheaper even with the tariffs, for the simple fact that Biden's fucking, tax plans and, economic fucking policies actually cost the American taxpayer average about 17,000 more a year, whereas Trump's is going to end up costing you about 2,500. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the same time, again, Trump trying to make some stupid ass fucking, let's give you tax rebates as with the tariffs. Like, no, absolutely
Right.
not, man. And you know what I'm saying? You have a senator
I
out of
think
Texas.
I
I
think he
can't remember his
sprinkles
name.
those out every now and then.
Congressman.
I think he sprinkles those out every now, like the like, oh, like you guys want to fuck, what is it, a stimulus check, like, oh, remember stimulus, like I was that guy, and you know what that's for.
The
You know
check
what that's
had my
for.
fucking signature on it, man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But
You know why
there's
he's hinting at that, but he's not actually fucking doing any of that shit. You know
I
what he's
would hope
aiming at.
not.
He's
Right,
trying to
the
get
blick.
fucking blixes.
Right,
He's trying to get
but
them blixes all like, oh, he gonna get us another fucking stimulus. Here they come.
right.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
There's a congressman out of Texas, and he's a Republican, and he's trying to get a bill fucking onto the floor that would make it to where the money, the proceeds brought in from tariffs, go toward the national debt. You know what I'm saying? Which is exactly what the fuck I want to see happen, dude.
Right. Hell yeah. That's good shit.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm gonna be reamed, right? If I gotta pay taxes, like let's actually use it for something that's constructive for the future
Right.
of our country, man.
I would rather pay into fucking debts than paying into fucking transgender surgeries or fucking for condoms
Sesame
in
Street.
fucking in what is it, Mozambique and shit like that. And yeah,
Right.
fuck gay Sesame Street in Colombia. Like I'd much rather fucking pay into the fucking abyss of the fucking pile of debt that we owe. You know, never see any fucking actual physical benefit from it other than, you know, we're paying shit off. I'd much rather pay that than fucking pay for all this other weird shit that we're paying everywhere else, you know?
That's dude. You know, it's funny you mentioned the condom thing, right? In Africa, you know, they had this whole article about how AIDS and fucking STDs are back on the rise there in like Uganda and shit, all because Trump cut the fucking money to you said, right? So you know, of course, it's someone else's fault that these fools are fucking each other in the assholes, right? But
Right.
you know, pretty fucking comical, man.
Right. Fucking
13
ridiculous. Man.
billion people might die because Trump's is.
Right. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
on the other at the other end of that fucking thing, we're also fucking funding, you know, seminars on gay man on man sex in Uganda. You know, one of the most fucking anti-gay places on the face of the fucking planet. You know, like
Right.
it's a fucking double-edged thing. We're giving out condoms so we could prevent AIDS over here, and then we're teaching these fucking black tribes and, you know, these black fucking African nations to have gay sex, so that way they could start getting AIDS too, so we could send them condoms later. See, they're not quite on the fucking level of receiving condoms yet. We're still trying to get them gay. Like,
Right.
right.
It's a
Fucking
never-ending cash
insane.
cow, I'll tell you what. It's a
Yep.
vicious cycle. It's a
Yep.
non-stop laundering scheme. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with the fucking weapons and stuff, they're like, we're sending weapons to Ukrainians. First, we're going to loan them the money to buy the weapons. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a non-stop laundering game, dude.
Right. Yep. Fucking that's government, man. That's the purpose and that's the feature of fucking government. Its use. That's its tool. That's its use as a tool is you know, taking money from the public and putting it into the
Extraction.
hands of private, you know,
It's just
individuals, you
fucking
know.
extraction, dude.
Yep.
Always. And it
Yep.
fucking the tax man, dude, is genius, super geniuses to figure out ways to take your money. Absolute fucking stooge morons when they spend your money.
Yep. It's just why you know where the fucking priorities lie, man.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. All right, man. You got anything else you want to throw in before we wrap up here?
And thanks for everybody for coming by. Hope you enjoyed, man. We'll try to fucking stay on schedule, I guess. But Lazy Dude 27, eat it Dak, dude, you weird motherfucker. You know, other than that, dude, no. Damn good show.
It's good times, good times. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking Jacob Kennedy that lives at so far. Ghost Politics said you should watch Muscow Tensao, Jobless Reincarnated. Yeah, there's some fun stuff on here.
Right. Use guys
Fucking
as your gay.
Cornbread Man. Donald Trump and some of the Republicans are part of the Epstein files. Probably.
Right.
Is Epstein still alive? Yeah, good
I don't
times,
know, man. I saw this one drone video.
Right. All
Like
right,
he
man.
just
Well,
like if he was alive, he'd just go back to the island. Everything's cool.
right. Yeah, you just, you know, it's a remote island. You know, nobody can fucking access it. Nobody can see what's going on there.
Right. Yep. Damn good show though, man.
All right, appreciate you guys for stopping by. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video out with your friends. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. And as always, fuck off.